It is 10 o'clock. Good morning from the 104.5 The Zone studios. I'm Lucas Panzica. The Oklahoma City Thunder took a 3-2 series lead over the Pacers Monday in the NBA Finals with a 120-109 win at home. Jalen Williams scoring a playoff career high 40 points, and the Thunder are a win away from their first ever NBA championship. The series heads back to Indiana for Game 6 on Thursday night. College World Series, Arkansas stayed alive with a 3-0 win over Murray State in an elimination game. Gage Wood with a no-hitter, the first one in the Men's College World Series since 1960. The action in Omaha picks up this afternoon. Oregon State faces Louisville in an elimination game at 1 p.m. Stanley Cup Final, the Florida Panthers are a win away from being back-to-back Stanley Cup champs. Game 6 against the Oilers tonight in Sunrise. Puck drop at 7 p.m. For all your foundation repairs and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
We got a lot going on for a Tuesday in June. What's happening? Welcome into 104.5 The Zone. We're happy to have you. We got Robert, we got Lucas, we got me. Until 1 o'clock, as is the custom, what we also have for you today is we have great prizes for Oh No. We have Louis Riddick of ESPN talking Cam Ward in about 20 minutes from now. We have BJ Callahan of Nashville SC. The soccer coach is going to stop by in the noon hour. Looking forward to catching up with him, and we got a million things to do in between. Jam-packed, loaded show. What are we putting in extra effort on a Tuesday in June for? I thought this was the time of year when Sports Talk Radio mailed it in, where we took it easy, where we did lists and Mount Rushmores and things of this nature. The two of you aren't content to mail it in with me?
Plenty of time for that.
Okay, so we'll get to July. July very much, it's about a half a mail-it-in month, and then training camp officially begins. 6 weeks away from now is when the Titans will return, but that doesn't mean we can't talk about these things. In the meantime, we will start with Game 5 of the NBA Finals, though, and it was exciting. Well, it was very much in hand for the Thunder in the first half. Then Indiana does what it's been able to do throughout the course of this postseason, which is get down by a significant double-digit margin and then claw their way back, scrap their way back on the road at OKC. But they didn't have an answer for Jalen Williams, who is such an excellent second option to SGA. And it's not just because he had 40 points last night. This, Robert, where were we at when we were at Sonny's on Friday night when we were watching the Game 4 between Indiana and OKC, which OKC was able to outlast Indiana in that game too. And one of the guys that we were hanging out with, that we were watching the game with, posed the question to the table: if you're the Thunder and you have contract situations coming up, would you rather pay Chet Holmgren or Jalen Williams? And I couldn't believe it was even a question, frankly, being posed, because, I don't know, Chet Holmgren is a 7-footer. He's a good basketball player. He's a good ancillary piece in part. They don't make it to the finals. They don't have the best record in the regular season of any NBA team without Chet Holmgren. But Jalen Williams is a much harder commodity to me to find in today's NBA. I don't know if I'm just am I undervaluing the size of Chet Holmgren and what he gives you in the post? But I'm looking at the way that Jalen Williams was scoring in the post last night. I'm saying, well, if you can get that kind of production from your two guard, you can find another Chet Holmgren or player who's similar to him. I think Jalen Williams is a stud.
Yeah, I mean, put it this way, Oklahoma City lost the rebounding battle and still won the game by double digits because of the game Jalen Williams had. But I don't know if the bigger story in this game is Williams popping off for a playoff career high or the lack of Tyrese Halliburton not hitting a single field goal. Obviously dealt with the lower leg, what appeared to be a calf injury. Just wasn't right.
But made his free throws, but no field goals. 4
points, all from the free throw line. He is the first all-NBA player to miss every shot in an NBA Finals game since 1958.
But to me, that's a story about the Thunder. Like, yes, that you want, if you're Indiana, you need your stars to come through, especially in a pivotal Game 5 before you go home to Indiana in Game 6 and try and at least prolong this thing to 7 games instead of getting back-to-back losses and losing the NBA Finals at home. that way. That's not the outcome that anybody desires if you're in that situation. So, yeah, it is fair criticism of Tyrese Halliburton today to have that as a statistic, but also he's been carrying a lot of weight for them this entire way through. And what is the thing that makes the Thunder, like, truly excellent? It's their defense. Their defense was suffocating yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
Thoroughly suffocating. I mean, how many consecutive turnovers did they have at the end of the game? 4? 4 that they were causing on Indiana to just continue to drive up the score that way when the Pacers just kept pushing, kept scrapping, kept clawing, doing exactly what Indiana's done all the way through these playoffs to get to a Game 5 in the NBA Finals. The Pacers definitely threatened them, and then the defense just smothered them.
Yeah.
And Tyrese Halliburton had no answers.
22 turnovers forced, 15 steals, 12 blocks. They were just fantastic. And as hard as Pascal Siakam tried,
he's so good.
He could not pull the Pacers out of a Tyrese Halliburton-less offense. Same goes to TJ McConnell, who stepped up in this game. But it's just 4 points from Halliburton, no field goals made. And I know a lot of it was because of injury. It's not going to get it done. It's just the Pacers aren't going to win a game where that happens. So if he's not right for Game 6 on Thursday, it's hard to imagine the Indiana Pacers forcing this to a Game 7 in Oklahoma City.
I hate that as a fan. But I almost just conceded last night. Just not the finals, but just generally like they're playing so well. Like it's not just SGA. I'm not just losing to SGA tonight. I'm losing to the Thunder. I'm losing to the Thunder defense. I'm losing to Jalen Williams. Lou Dort is out there pulling up from range, right? Like, I mean, they were on last night. And there was nothing that was going to be done to stop them. You threatened them a couple of times if you're the Pacers, but like I didn't have as hard a time with last night's loss as I did Friday night's loss. Because Friday night's loss felt winnable to me. Like, that felt like a golden opportunity for you to take a 3-1 lead instead of now trailing 3-2 to the Thunder. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. But on the whole, basketball for forever, the NBA in particular, has been the most predictable sport, right? The postseason in the NBA has been the easiest of them to predict because March Madness is not that. It's a mess. It's a complete and total disaster when you have a 64-team field in a single elimination tournament, and there's still college kids going on the road to play in neutral site environments and a lot of these things. So it's a lot of different impact that can be had in the college game that doesn't necessarily hold true in the NBA that way. Now, this year we got a little more variance with how difficult it was for teams to win at home in the early going in the postseason, where basically teams were 500 on the road versus at home.
I'd say the NFL playoffs in the last few years have gotten to a point where, yeah, you can ride with the Chiefs and probably be right, at the very least, to win the AFC.
Well, that's fair. And before then, the Patriots, right? So,
this team,
there's a Roethlisberger sprinkled in there, maybe a Flacco with the Ravens.
The parity is there, but in the end, in the last few years in the NFL, it's oftentimes been the team that most people said, yeah, it's probably just going to end up being them.
This year felt unpredictable in the finals at the very least, except at the end of the day, you're just reminded when you watch a game like last night, and the Thunder show you this in moments, but last night it's as visceral as it's felt at any point in these 5 games, is that they're just a better team.
I love
they're
that
the NBA's best team.
They announced the starters finally. They did starting introductions.
Oh, you mean on television?
On TV for the first time since 2013. I didn't realize it had been over a decade. I enjoyed that. They made it feel like a bigger deal. I felt like I was actually watching the NBA Finals last night.
Oh, that was all you needed
that's all I needed.
Jump up the atmosphere a little bit?
That's it.
I do agree that it gives it a little more oomph, right? When you get all the pomp and circumstance, it makes you feel like you're at the game a little more, and you get to enjoy the video displays. They're not doing pyrotechnics in the arena, I guess, but just all the different atmospheric things that make it feel bigger. I mean, it's still the finals, but make it feel like the finals as opposed to your complaint yesterday was what?
Yeah, it just felt like we're watching, Wednesday night games in the regular season. But they did a better job with that in terms of the presentation yesterday. But if Halliburton's not right, it's a shame because I really feel like the Pacers at 100% can scratch and claw this thing to 7 games. And then what happens from there happens. But it is starting to feel like the Oklahoma City Thunder rightfully are going to be NBA champions for the first time since moving to Oklahoma City.
There's not a better executive, I might argue, anywhere in professional sports, in American professional sports, than Sam Presti.
Most people in our listening audience have never heard that name in their lives.
But think about it. How many times have you ever seen that man interviewed?
Oh, never?
He's completely behind the scenes. He's the general manager of the Oklahoma City Thunder. He has turned them into a perpetual contender. He's doing this. What's the average age of the Thunder's roster right now?
Young.
I mean, they're infants, essentially. And he's got them in the NBA Finals. And I know that it's not just him, right? It's obviously SGA and acquiring him. It's hitting on a guy like Jalen Williams. Where did he play his college basketball? It's some...
Who? Jalen?
Jalen Williams. I can't remember. It's some kind of like New Mexico directional school or something like that. He was like the 13th overall pick, which almost never pans out.
Santa Clara.
Santa Clara, right?
The Thunder have the second youngest team in the NBA, only trailing the Blazers at 24.3. They're at 24.7.
And they have got a boatload of first-round picks coming down the line in the next few years.
I just don't think that there's a better, who's the best executive in the NFL right now? Howie Roseman. Right?
Yeah.
Can we say by consensus?
I would say so.
I mean, there are probably some people that would throw Andre Dillard or Jalen Reagor in your face and be like, look, he makes mistakes too. No.
They all make mistakes.
They all make mistakes. It's how you overcome those mistakes. Well, I missed on Jalen Reagor. Let me hoodwink the Titans for A.J. Brown.
Right. The law of averages. For every one of those, he's probably going to have a Jalen Carter at 10.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And then end up with Nolan Smith at the back end of the first round because he's just good like that in the draft. There is a degree of luck always in these things. Personnel acquisition, I don't know. Is it easier in the NBA because the players, there's just so many fewer players that if you miss on one pick, you're banged for the foreseeable future. Whereas as football, you turn the roster. I mean, hell, what's the percentage of the Titans roster that turned over year over year? 51%? Something like that?
I think in the NBA, it's also easier to get good because one player can change the franchise versus the NFL where you have to actually build a team.
Yeah, very much so. Very much so. But it's impressive what they've done. And Jalen Williams should be in the driver's seat for NBA Finals MVP.
Over SGA. There's no way he wins it over SGA.
I don't know. With his performance, he's averaging like 31 points in the last 3 games.
No, he's excellent. I'm not disputing that. But I would be stunned if he won it over the MVP of the league, who's also playing at an incredibly high level.
I mean, it's not like that's unprecedented.
No, it's not. I mean, the Steph Curry,
Iguodala,
Andre Iguodala.
I mean, yeah, I feel like that has happened a lot in recent years in the NBA Finals. So I don't know. It'll be interesting. But if Jalen Williams, to say he's going to turn out another 40-point performance in Game 6 is unlikely. But he is the 5th player over the last 40 years to score 25-plus points in 3 straight games in the NBA Finals before the age of 25. So that list is Kyrie, KD, Dwayne Wade, and Shaq. So, I don't know. I think there is a serious conversation to be had if the Thunder go on to win on Thursday, and maybe it comes down to the performance of those two guys individually up against each other. But there is a serious conversation to be had about Jalen Williams as Finals MVP.
You want the odds?
Sure.
Minus 600 for SGA to win. Jalen Williams is the second favorite at plus 625.
Wow.
So not a bad bet. Not a bad bet.
No, not a bad bet at all, but it's a significant margin. And it doesn't mean that Vegas, is the end-all be-all that way, but I don't think that's... It's pretty heavy.
I saw
heavy favorite for SGA.
He and SGA combined for 71 of their 120
It's disgusting.
points.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like last night, I just threw my hands up and I just I concede. You win. Take it to Game 6.
Rob Perez tweeted yesterday that SGA is going to win because it's going to be a close vote and somebody's going to accidentally vote for the other Jalen Williams on the Thunder. Like the Jaylin Williams, who didn't play a single second yesterday.
They have to find some way to prevent that, right? Like that would be criminally wrong because there has to be some kind of financial incentive in that for Jalen Williams, the actual Jalen Williams. 615-737-1045 is the number. Let's talk some Titans. Let's talk some football with Louis Riddick of ESPN, the former front office executive, will join us on Buck Rising. It's 1045 The Zone. Welcome back to the show, fueled by Hattie B's Hot Chicken. Best hot chicken in the world. Louis Riddick of ESPN going to be with us here in just a few moments from now. In the meantime, let's play some Louis Riddick audio, if we could, because he has been, I don't know, how many people would you say have been on the Cam Ward forefront the entire way through? Because Louis Riddick is immediately one that comes to mind for me.
Yeah, he's definitely one of them. I want to say Orlovsky was pretty high on Cam the whole way.
Cosell basically said he was the number one overall pick pre-combine.
Yeah.
No, did say he's the number one overall pick pre-combine because, a lot of times people catch up on their film work and some people may be later than the party than others. It doesn't mean that the opinion can't be correct. It just means that people are in different timelines of their tape study and things like that. So there's a couple of people who have been on the Cam Ward train as the number one overall pick, now officially the number one overall pick by the Tennessee Titans. And Louis Riddick is one of those. But this was Louis Riddick's commentary. This was either, First Take or NFL Live? I believe it was First Take.
NFL on ESPN is who tweeted it.
Okay, so let's...
Probably NFL Live.
Probably NFL Live. Either way, Louis Riddick on ESPN's main platform talking about Cam Ward prior to the Titans actually drafting Cam Ward.
You want a guy who has no limitations. And quite honestly, he doesn't have any limitations. So I see this being a perfect marriage on the football field. Look, any question that starts with players, to me, Hannah, you know how I am, is really just about fit and about personalities, right, and whether or not people can really get on with one another off the field, in the locker room, in the classroom, on the practice field. And I don't think there'll be any problems with that either. Look, I said my comp for Cam Ward because of the way he plays. He reminds me of Patrick. He reminds me of Mahomes, with how he can be unconventional, throw the football from all different kinds of weird angles, and then just put a bunch of horsepower on it when he needs to. And look, to me, if someone was telling me, hey, that's maybe what you're getting, I'd be pretty damn excited. Now, I'm not saying I'm exactly right, but that's my bet, that Cam Ward will have that kind of impact and play that kind of style of football in Tennessee if they happen to select him number one.
And they did, obviously, and they also held that opinion that he is a franchise-changing player. You don't draft him number one overall if he is not, in your opinion, or your franchise's opinion, that kind of guy, the kind of guy who can turn this thing around. Now, the difference with Lewis's analysis there and then somebody like Nate Tice, right, who was making stylistic comparisons to Steve McNair specifically, is that Lewis is also going so far as to say that he believes he will have that kind of impact here in Tennessee that Patrick Mahomes had in Kansas City. And that is a substantial impact. That's 3 Super Bowl championships at this point in time. That is perennial all-pro player. That is arguably, he is the most talented quarterback I've ever seen. He's not the most winning quarterback that I've ever seen. That's Brady. But the best player at the position that I've ever seen is Patrick Mahomes.
I think most people would agree with that.
I mean, there's some people that won't hear the nuance in what I said and push back on that immediately, and there's some people of a certain generation that are probably still screaming Montana, even though Brady passed him up quite some time ago. The impact of Cam Ward, or even just, it's so hard for me to go to that length because of how difficult it is for any number one pick at quarterback. We talked about this before, the statistics on these guys, how difficult it is for even a number one pick, not a first overall pick, but just a first round pick at quarterback generally, to win a playoff game for the team that drafted him. It's like 46% of the time it happens. So less than half the time, the player that you drafted in the first round to play the most important position is even going to win a playoff game for you, much less to have the kind of impact that Patrick Mahomes has clearly and obviously had on the Kansas City Chiefs. The other part of this is the trajectory different for Mahomes than it is for Cam. Cam's going to start right away. Cam's the they haven't said it, right? So they are, I guess, still technically disputing that he is the starter externally at the Titans practice facility. That's fine, but they know that player is going to start for them, provided that he's healthy in week 1. Provided that he's healthy or that there's not some other catastrophe that's going on here. What is reasonable expectations for Cam Ward in year 1?
It's interesting because reasonable expectations for a number one overall pick are a conversation that has a million different angles to it. Most people, and this is not just for year 1, but for the totality of the career of a quarterback selected at number one overall, I think most people would say that quarterback is expected to take you to meaningful contention consistently in the playoffs, to turn your franchise around, to get you at least on the cusp of a Super Bowl. And that happens very, very rarely for number one overall picks at the quarterback position. Some of them get there. Joe Burrow got to the Super Bowl. Cam Newton got to the Super Bowl. But we've talked about it. Who's the last quarterback selected number one overall to win a Super Bowl with the team that drafted him number one?
Remind me.
Peyton.
Yeah, I was going to say Peyton, but that fell too long ago.
It was Peyton.
It was 2006.
Been a long time.
Right? That's that Colts Super Bowl?
Yeah, the Colt with the Colts, obviously. So, Kyler
I
Murray.
guess the last time, well, yeah, Broncos, he won later, but he wasn't drafted.
I'm saying with the team that drafted him, yeah. I mean, and even outside of the quarterback position, the last player to be drafted number one overall to win a Super Bowl, regardless of position, with the team that drafted him, would be Eric Fisher with the Chiefs. And that was 15 years ago or so that he was drafted, a little less than 15 years ago. So then you have Kyler Murray. Was Kyler Murray worth the number one overall pick? When you look at Kyler Murray, what he's done with the Cardinals, do you look at that and say, yeah, that's a number one pick that you can look back at and say, we got it right with this player?
Or so much so for Cliff Kingsbury that he was ready to move on from the first round pick at quarterback that they made the year prior to Cliff getting hired. So, I don't know. What was their option?
I mean,
ride it out with Josh Rosen?
Yeah, they didn't really. It was a bad. I mean, Daniel Jones was in that draft. It wasn't a very good quarterback draft.
That's the Nashville draft, right? That's so.
Yes.
I mean, was it worth it? Yes, they didn't have really another viable choice.
I guess I say all of that to say or to ask if Cam Ward 5-6 years from now has a similar trajectory to Kyler Murray, are you happy with Cam Ward as your number one overall
He's
pick?
even gotten some player comps to Kyler in the way that he plays outside of structure. That's a good question. 615-737-1045 is the number if you want to weigh in on that. If Kyler Murray or if Cam Ward has the career trajectory, if Kyler Murray is the number one overall pick, is that satisfactory to you? Because I'm sure most people are screaming at their radios or their live streaming devices or listening to this back on the podcast after the fact, being like, no, you idiots, what do you mean? But, isn't Kyler Murray considered a success?
I would say so. I'd say the Cardinals' problems run a little deeper than who they have playing quarterback.
Are the Cardinals disappointed in the Kyler Murray experience? It's really tough for me to say yes to that.
It's not been perfect, right? There's been some issues. There's been some off the field stuff in terms of his commitment to football, the tape watching, all that stuff. But no, I don't think he's anywhere close to a bust.
No. And
he got the contract.
I have such a hard time with the term bust, just generally, because I see how often organizations fail as opposed to players. Because I've seen the organization that I cover up close and personal fail players right and left. Now, doesn't mean that players are completely faultless and that they don't deserve some portion of the blame. Like when Marcus Mariota didn't work out here. Is that exclusively on the Titans or is that on Mariota too? It's on both. The Titans failed Marcus Mariota in the very early going of his career, not making corrections with Ken Wisenhunt prior to when they fired Ken Wisenhunt, and then not getting him significant enough protection for him to be able to play, not have his career derailed by injury. And Marcus also didn't perform up to a high enough level. Both of those things can be true. I'd put more of the onus on the organization, though, than I would on the player who failed there. And I think that there's you can do these conversations by degree. Context is important. Nuance is important, which is why we're excited to have smart guests like Louis Riddick joining us on the radio show for the first time. Louis, thank you so much for stopping by. The city of Nashville is obviously incredibly excited about Cam Ward, and you have been one of his most staunch supporters the entire way through the pre-draft process and as things continue into his very, very young NFL career. At what point did you think Cam was going to be the kind of special that you are now comfortable comparing him in certain terms, to somebody like Patrick Mahomes?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I know there's a lot of people who kind of like started to absolutely lose their you-know-what over that comparison. And see, I don't know why people get so uncomfortable with comparisons, especially when you give them good context, which I did, which is, look, Cam plays from a you still there? Are we still on?
Oh yeah, I got you.
Okay, I'm just making sure. I couldn't tell my computer was doing something weird here.
You're good.
Yeah, no, I think from a stylistic standpoint, Cam has a lot of things that look very similar to the way Patrick likes to play the game. Patrick always described it as being like he's playing baseball, like he's just throwing the ball to first base, and that's why his feet sometimes are parallel. The ball sometimes comes out sidearm, three-quarters sidearm. It's a little unorthodox as far as how quarterback traditionally was played. Well, Cam Ward does the same thing. He can do the same types of things. He has very similar arm horsepower to Patrick. He just does. I've seen it up close in person, both of them, so I know. So I'm speaking from experience. When did I start feeling as though he had special qualities? I think it was I saw him in Pullman 2 years ago against Wisconsin early in the season. Then I got to see him play twice just this past year and got to go down to his pro day too and got to know Mario Cristobal and Shannon Dawson, his offensive coordinator, and they really walked me through the transition that he went through when he transferred from Washington State down to Coral Gables, and how from day one he just kind of took over. Now, I saw that and heard about that when I was up at Washington State, but he took it to a whole new level as far as his leadership, which is really the special sauce with him, which is really the special sauce with all these quarterbacks who are in the upper tier. It's not just their own individual talent. It's the way in which they raise the level of everyone else because of how good they are and what they demand. And they don't ask people to do anything that they're not willing to commit themselves to doing as far as committing to the process. And that's what Cam's all about. You heard his parting words when I guess he left OTAs about what he said he was going to do.
I was there. Yeah.
I mean, that's perfect. And that's how he was at Miami. And that's why he had one of the great seasons in Miami history as far as throwing the football. And that's why he raised the level of all the offensive players around him. Had Miami had anything close to resembling a competent defense, Miami would have been in the playoff picture and maybe in the national title hunt because of the way they could move the ball offensively, primarily because of Cam. He's exactly what Tennessee needs. That's the kind of personality at that position that Tennessee needs. That's the kind of skill set that Tennessee needs to take that offense and really level it up. He comes from a great family, super supportive people, super nice people, and he is just uniquely zeroed in on trying to be the best damn quarterback he can be. And that's it. That's all he cares about. Why wouldn't everybody in Tennessee go and put their arms around him and go, just lead us, man. We're going to ride your coattails. That's exactly what you want, and he's built for it. He's just simply built for it. I'm as convicted on this young man in terms of his makeup as any, whether it was Jaden Daniels last year or C.J. Stroud the year before. I'm very much so Team Cam Ward.
Well, Lewis, and I'm so glad that you articulated it that way. By the way, Lewis Riddick, ESPN, here with us on 104.5 The Zone. Of course, you can see him across their various platforms at any given point, whether it's Get Up, NFL Live, or all the other great broadcasts that he's doing, as well as college football broadcasts throughout the course of the season. Because I'm sure you've heard the Kevin O'Connell clip from last offseason where he's talking about the rate of quarterback churn and burn, right? He's talking about the organizations that fail these players far more often than the players themselves fail. Because I am 100% in agreement with you, Lewis, based on all the different stories that we hear from people who we've talked to on the show and done research on at Miami, Wazoo, and even Incarnate Word, and just seeing the way that his teammates have interacted with him during the course of the Titans offseason program, all these different things. And yet, you know, the organization itself, I think, is still quite suspect in the way that they are trying to build around them. I think Mike Borgonzi is a very serious football personnel man. I think Brian Callahan is a very serious football coach. But we have seen several instances of these things across the board go sideways. And I wonder how you feel about the landing spot for him beyond him being built for this.
Yeah. Well, I think you touched on two important points. Well, really one in particular. Look, Mike knows in particular, that being Borgonzi, where he just came from, the amount of time he spent there with Andy and Brett Reed and Brett Veach, and why Patrick was as successful as he was, going beyond his own physical skills and his mental makeup, and how to go about trying to foster that kind of environment for the guy, for a quarterback, so he can then just take off and become all he can be. I mean, there isn't much more that you can really get in terms of a GM who has seen the development arc of right now who is considered to be the most talented quarterback maybe we've seen in the past 7, 8, 9 years, 10 years. So if they just let him execute what his vision is in terms of I'm trying to copy and put together and follow the same kind of blueprint that Brett and Andy followed in Kansas City, then they have a chance. Because you're right, and I've been talking about this since, well, when we got into TV back in 2013 at ESPN about the fact that the development and utilization phase of player development, if you're talking about, scouting and information gathering and then valuation and selection and then development and implementation. Those are the three tripods of team building. Development and utilization. That's the most important phase. Because, look, all scouts obviously think that they can scout better than the next guy and they can see shit that other guys can't, blah, blah, blah. It's not true. What's really true is, and how you can really get a competitive advantage, is when you get them under your roof. Now, what are you doing? And so you're right. Some organizations have a history of screwing it up. Churning over coaches, churning over play callers, churning through players, owners getting involved, team presidents getting involved, team president's wife gets involved, the man on the street gets involved, everyone's listening to everyone's opinion, and next thing you know, you don't have a philosophical direction. In Tennessee, it's the greatest team sport in the world, right? It's the most popular sport, obviously, in our country by far, and everyone's so invested. There's so much information, and everyone has access to all this behind the scenes information. And what happens is there's so many people who have so many things to say that sometimes the people who are in charge become so distracted and listen to so much crap that they forget why they were put in that spot in the first place, which is 9 times out of 10, because they're competent and they know how to get, what it takes to get there. If you just let a guy like Mike Borgonzi do what he's capable of doing, what he has seen done when he was in Kansas City, you have a chance. Protect the quarterback. Build a solid wall. Make sure it's a complementary offense. Make sure he has weapons. Make sure you have a solid defense and a coach who understands the field position and putting your quarterback in advantageous spots. Make sure you have a great quarterback coach who can be the go-between between your quarterback and the play caller, because that's the guy who settles it all down, who can really kind of like decipher all the information in real time during the game. You saw, speaking of Kevin O'Connell, how many times did we see clips of Sam Darnold last year talking with Josh McCown?
Right.
And Josh is the one who's really taking the information from Kevin and saying, look, this is what I need you to do. This is what we need you to do. Not that Kevin can't, but it's all part of it. It's all part of getting that one dude at the command and control center to be able to process all that information and then throw the football when he's getting hit upside the head by some of the fiercest athletes on earth. Like there's so many things, man. There's so many things that go into it. Just let the people do what they do who have been hired in these specific spots, and then let the chips fall where they may. Just stop turning stuff over and listening to what Adam Schefter says or the late, great Chris Mortensen. I remember, people used to call these guys all the time, and I'd hear them. There'd be owners, GMs, all kinds of stuff asking, what do you think of this guy? What do you think of this guy? It's like, dude, they're reporters. I mean, they're my boys and they're my guys, and I love them to death, and they're competent as hell, the best of the profession, but they're not there all the time. They don't know. Just let the people, just trust your ability to hire great people, and then let them go, and then let them build some consistency so you give chances to guys like Cam Ward as far as him becoming everything that he can become. There's no secret. There's no secret as to why a guy like Patrick becomes what he becomes, why Josh Allen has become what he's become in Buffalo. Why, look, even Joe Burrow is uniquely talented, but he's had some levels of consistency around him, especially when you're talking about the offensive side of the ball and the people who are in his ear. Okay, there's been some consistency there. There's a reason why. And just go on down the list. Look at Lamar Jackson. I just heard some people talking about Lamar Jackson on the radio earlier today when Lamar was potentially going to be a free agent. All the teams who were like, we're not interested. We're not interested. We're not interested. And then he winds up re-signing in Baltimore. And what does he do? He just wins a couple MVP. It's like there's a reason why he was able to continually ascend, because John Harbaugh had a great plan for him, continued to tweak it. Obviously, he brings in Todd Monken to kind of take it to a whole nother level, because he believed that Lamar needed a little bit more to really become all that he's become. And right now, I mean, hell, Lamar's unstoppable. There's just watch what these organizations do, and they all have certain things that are all very similar from one to the other, and why it leads to the success that their quarterbacks have had.
So when you look at the key ingredients, Lewis, on the field in a quarterback's rookie year, what are some of the baseline things that you find are common with quarterbacks that have success in their rookie season, whether it's a reliable safety blanket? We understand offensive line play is a bare minimum that Caleb Williams didn't have last year, that Jaden Daniels had more of, but trying to consider what the Titans have to put Cam in that position to succeed right out of the gates. What's 1A and 1B and what you absolutely have to have for that to be the case?
Yeah, I mean, look, you touched on it. Look, number one, you have to have, at the very least, competent offensive line play and an ability to be somewhat situationally balanced, to where you're literally just not overloading the kid and relying on his ability to throw the football, especially behind a leaky offensive line, where he doesn't have time to get comfortable with not only what he's supposed to do as far as his own offense is concerned, meaning pre-snap checks, ball snapped, my eyes come down, like especially if I'm in the gun, my eyes go up and everything, all of a sudden the whole picture has changed. Now I'm starting to, I need to remember where the guys are supposed to be, and I'm trying to decipher what's going on with the offense. So you've got to have, at the very least, competent O-line play, a guy he can turn around and hand the ball off to, take some pressure off of him, and offense. So look, competent offensive line play, at the very least, competent weaponry, and really I'll just go in three. A play caller / quarterback coach who can really distill the information down to where it is digestible and usable for him. And they know exactly what they need to go to and when they need to go to it to keep him comfortable and keep him on track and keep him playing on time. It cannot just go helter-skelter on him, meaning I'm getting my ass knocked off, I'm getting no protection, we are constantly behind the chain so I can't run the ball, and you are just picking plays like we're picking plays off of a menu, at a late night 24-hour restaurant after being out drinking all night. Well, it can't be like that. And you've seen that happen to guys. And then all of a sudden what happens is it just then usually what happens after that is there's churn, the head coach gets fired, the team gets rebuilt, the kid's learning a whole new offense, and hopefully, they can break out of that cycle at some point in time, because if you're constantly caught in that kind of tornado, you have no shot. So stability, offensive line play, some competent weaponry, and most importantly, a coach who understands what it means and what it takes to keep the kid on time in terms of playing on time. And that, I'll tell you, think about what happened with Caleb. Think about what happened with Bryce in his first year. Those are the kind of things that basically killed those guys in their first years. Then it started to click, for Bryce in year 2 after being sat down. Think about it with Caleb last year. Offensive line play, not great. Weaponry, pretty decent on the perimeter. Play calling, sometimes if you turned on Chicago tape last year, you'd be like, the first down play doesn't really marry up with the second down play, and the third down play when it's 3rd and 20, good luck, trying to find a good call for that play, for that down and distance anyway. And so then he's just trying to make crap happen, and then he's just running around. His eyes are all over the place.
Yeah.
He's never playing on time, and it all just spirals downhill. Hopefully Ben Johnson can get that squared away this year. I'm sure Brian Callahan understands and knows those are the kind of things we have to avoid for Cam in Tennessee, and they will do everything in their power to make sure that they do avoid that. And Mike Bergonzi knows that that's the kind of thing that they avoided in Kansas City for Patrick, and that's why he was able to, in year 1, come out ablazing with 50 touchdowns.
Louis Riddick of ESPN is here with us, breaking down Cam Ward and the fit with the Titans on 104.5 The Zone. Of course, you can catch him across ESPN's platforms. He's also one of the most recent inductees to the National High School Football Hall of Fame class of 2025. Congratulations on that, Louis. Quickly, before we let you go, and we do appreciate your time this morning, the AFC South is such a science experiment of a division with so many interesting pieces and parts, whether it be a rookie, a veteran that's been in the division, or a free agent acquisition that's recently come to the AFC South. Is there one player that stands out to you as the most interesting player in this division this year?
I think the most interesting to me, because of this whole phenomenon when you're talking about, second year slump, when you're talking about quarterbacks in particular, the most interesting is CJ for me, because he was Stroud, because when he came out in the draft, many people thought that Bryce was head and shoulders the number one overall pick in that year, and that CJ was just a beneficiary of playing at Ohio State, maybe playing a schedule that didn't always test him like SEC schedules tested Bryce, and that he wouldn't be able to flourish in the NFL like he did in his rookie season, which was have one of the best rookie seasons you've ever seen. And then he has to step back because there's a lot of other extenuating circumstances that have nothing to do with him. It's very interesting to me. It'll be interesting to me to see how he responds this year and how D'Amico handles him this year and what that offense looks like going forward. I think that's an interesting one. Look, obviously, Anthony Richardson in Indianapolis and what's going on with that whole quarterback situation and what's going on with that organization overall. But starting with the quarterback there, I mean, Anthony seems to be already at a crossroads and in his young career, which is just amazing to me. It's amazing. We know what he's going to continue to have to fight to really dispel that notion that he's a quitter because of what happened, down there in Houston, as a matter of fact. And so that's just something that I'm keeping my eye on too. Hopefully he can get that shoulder right and he can be healthy, at some point this year to where he can really, take hold of that spot. And Shane Steichen, the head coach there in Indy, can get him going and get him playing consistently. Because I'd hate to see a kid like that have his talent just basically be something that we all just kind of quickly forget because he just was never able to put it all together. So those are probably two for me. In the South. We'll see how it all plays out.
Well, Louis, thank you again so much for the time. Really enjoy your work and not just blowing smoke. You're very thoughtful and obviously passionate about what it is that you do, and that carries through in every broadcast. And so I know Titans fans have enjoyed listening to you stand for Cam Ward on the front end, and I know they've enjoyed this interview today. So be well, and hopefully we'll catch up again soon.
You got it. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
That's Louis Riddick of ESPN with us on 104.5 The Zone. All right, we got to go to break because I went way over there, but Louis's stuff was good. Oh, no, next. Guys, listen up if you're feeling tired, if you're dragging, things aren't working like they used to. Maybe you're thinking that's just a part of getting older. Doesn't have to be that way. That's why I want to tell you about the Tennessee Men's Clinic, because these guys don't do guesswork. They make it happen. Real science, real treatments, no gimmicks, no online quick fixes that just leave you frustrated. Online pills are too expensive and generic to just not work. At the Tennessee Men's Clinic, their medical providers build a plan around you, your body, your goals, and what it takes to get you back to feeling like yourself again. Whether it's testosterone, ED treatments, stuff most guys don't even know exists, the Tennessee Men's Clinic is there to help. So don't procrastinate on this. Call them right now and get it done. The Tennessee Men's Clinic, the number is so simple for you to call, or if you just want to streamline the process, at 615-208-9090. That's 615-208-9090, or online at TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. All right, we want to give us and you guys enough time to expand during Oh No, so we're going to push it the rare time that we are willing to move things around, but Louis Riddick is a good enough guest that we figured that was okay. What do I have to give away for Oh No, Robert, in the next segment? Not yet.
We have got, well, see, now everyone's going to be excited and run to their phones. If you can tell us what made you say, oh no, this week, you have a chance to win 2 tickets to see Whiskey Myers at Ascend Amphitheater on July 19th.
615-737-1045 is how you get in. If you want to jump in now, we will do Oh No in the next segment, the thing in sports that made you say, oh no. All right, so Louis Riddick had a lot of good thoughts there, and I mean, but it comes down to, at the core of it, his conviction in Cam Ward. I think it's interesting that he said he's as convicted on Cam Ward as he's been about any other prospect that he studied. Louis Riddick was a personnel evaluator long before he was on television. So the fact that he's that comfortable, one, making the Mahomes comparison, two, he's got the background and the ability to back that analysis up, and three, that he's still willing to stand on it even before this guy takes a real professional snap of football, not just helmets and shorts and shirts. To me, it comes back to, are they going to do right by Cam Ward? Not is Cam Ward going to make it as the number 1 overall pick?
It strikes me just how in love he is with just the disposition alone of Cam Ward. Like, I kind of love hearing that and not hearing him talk about arm talent and athletic ability, right? And all the things that you have to have, and you probably do have if you're a number 1 overall pick. But instead, that natural leadership and disposition to be able to carry that weight on your shoulders, something the Titans have not really had in a quarterback drafted in that sort of area in the NFL draft, right? Like, Vince Young had his sort of maturity issues when he was here. Jake Locker, I'm not going to speak to the mental disposition of Jake Locker. He had so many physical injury issues that we barely even got a chance.
But that can wear
to
on
see
your
that
mental.
on display.
That can wear on your mental.
And then Marcus, it was highly publicized, right? And nobody's questioning the human and the work effort, but in terms of that leadership ability, there were certain limitations there. I think we would all agree with Marcus Mariota. So that's the thing that strikes me about Lewis and how much he raves about just Cam's mental disposition above anything else.
615-737-1045. Tell us what in sports made you say, oh no. We'll send you that Whiskey Myers concert on July the 19th. Coming up next.
It is 11:03. Good morning from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I'm Lucas Panzica. The Oklahoma City Thunder took a 3-2 series lead over the Pacers Monday in the NBA Finals, a 120-109 win at home. Jalen Williams with the playoff career high 40 points. The series heads back to Indiana for Game 6 Thursday. Tonight, the Stanley Cup Final, the Florida Panthers, a win away from being back-to-back champions. Game 6 against the Oilers in Sunrise. Puck drop at 7 p.m. For all your foundation repairs and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Just going to go ahead and rip the Band-Aid off because we're running behind and we got calls to take. What's your oh no? 615-737-1045 is the number. If you give us the best one, we'll send you to, what's the name of the concert, Robert, on July the 19th?
It is Whiskey Myers, and I have also been informed that a Moment's Peace gift cards are now back.
A $100 gift card to a Moment's Peace Salon and Day Spa on top of those Whiskey Myers concert tickets. If you call us right now and give us your submission on the air. Don't just call in thinking you're going to win prizes. We don't do caller 5 around here. My oh no is the Titans social media. They were summarily dragged over the weekend because it was Father's Day. They weren't dragged because it was Father's Day, but they were dragged because they put out a Father's Day tweet. It was taken as controversial. It was co-opted by a certain segment of the population as though the Titans were trying to be quote-unquote woke in their Father's Day message. The wording of the Father's Day message was this on Twitter: Happy Father's Day to all the Titans moms and fatherly figures. Okay. So they obviously made a mistake. Apparently, it's my understanding that the person who runs I don't know her last name. I think the woman's name is Katie, who was responsible for the tweet, just copy and pasted the Mother's Day tweet and then didn't take the time to correct it for Father's Day. Now, this would not be controversial other than they then deleted the tweet. They did not put out another Father's Day tweet. People got angry at them for that. It was something that I thought was silly. I thought it was ancillary. The Titans were very upset about it internally, from what I understand, because how hard is it to just get the Father's Day post right? Like, just get the Father's Day post right. Just I know we are not the shining example of high level of production and execution around here, specifically as a show, so throwing stones from a glass house, I guess. But, like, if your one job is to tweet things from an NFL team's account, I feel like you just got to proofread.
I love that they just didn't repost it, too. Just gave up.
Well,
Still wished Tajay Spears a happy birthday, though, that day.
My understanding is that the person responsible for the mistake offered to post the tweet again, and the people overseeing it were just like, please don't bother. So I don't think that's her. I don't think anybody got fired necessarily over it, but I think there might be a reorganization. Hopefully, just give Nate Bain the Twitter account back. He's so much better at this than the rest of you. Anyway, it's my oh no.
My oh no is actually something really cool that happened yesterday. Gage Wood threw a no-hitter in the College World Series. Arkansas versus Murray State in an elimination game, a 3-0 win. The first no-hitter in the men's College World Series since 1960. But my oh no is how close he was to a perfect game. A hit by pitch. One hit by pitch is what separated Arkansas pitcher Gage Wood from a perfect game in Omaha. And this was Gage Wood after the game, a man of few words in this moment when asked about the no-hitter with his 19 strikeouts yesterday.
You just threw the third no-hitter in the history of this event. How do you describe your emotions?
I shouldn't have hit the guy. That's it. That's all I got to say.
I shouldn't have hit the guy. That's all I got to say. Mad respect for Gage Wood, but that close to a perfect game. Yeah. There was another instance in which Murray State lost a base runner with a hit by pitch that, has caused a lot of controversy among baseball fans because now you're judging intent on trying to get hit by the pitch versus not, and it's kind of become a part of the discussion. So he could have had 2 hit by pitches and would have been further away from the perfect game. Either way, 19 Ks, a no-hitter for Gage Wood. Again, first time since 1960, third time ever in Omaha, and Arkansas stays alive.
Bert.
You guys ever had a bird trapped in your house?
Dawn's had one trapped in her car.
Oh, God. And I think I would prefer that over what happened. So Friday, we're all getting done. I get done bowling. I'm coming home, and Buck's like, hey, we're going to go have some drinks. So as soon as we get done bowling, you know me.
You texted me, what are you doing tonight? I'm kind of drunk after bowling, and I want to go get drinks.
Be that as it may. We got home.
Potato, tomato.
After playing 4 games, I'm kind of sweaty, so I'm about to go take a shower. Cheyenne's about to go take a shower, and I'm taking my clothes off, taking my time. Cheyenne rushed in there because she wants the hot water. She wants a spigot. And when she got in the bathroom, there was a baby bird. Not a even baby bird. This was a big-ass bird that somehow, I don't know if my cats corralled it, if it got through the garage, if it came in the back door, if it came in through a vent, I don't know. But there was a bird in my bathroom, and it had been in this house for a while because both the cats are posted up outside the door like, trying to talk to it.
They weren't making like the noise that they make when they're like hunting a bird that like mimics a bird.
Like that clicking? I love that clicking. No, because we get in there and he's flying into the wall, like forehead on the glass, flying as hard as he can. We come in that room and he flying around. I'm like, we got to figure a way to get old dude out of here. So I do what the manliest thing I could possibly think. Lock Cheyenne in that bathroom, and I go get a towel to grab it.
Yes.
I get it.
Literally, there's a video he sent me of him locking his girlfriend, his wonderful girlfriend, who puts up with all the other things that he does, like eat raw sweet potatoes in the middle of the night. Lock this poor woman in the bathroom with this bird while it's ping-ponging off the walls in there while he went and got a towel.
We don't have the bleeped audio, do we? Because it is hilarious.
The screams alone.
I will get to this at the end. So I run out, go get a towel. I come back in there, and Cheyenne's like, no, don't use that. You're going to hurt that bird. At the end of this thing, I don't give a damn if I hurt that bird. But I'm silenced and shushed off by Cheyenne. I end up having to knock the window down, pull the screen out. Bird finally flies out. So my dumbest thing in sports is Cheyenne. That is the most tried and true method of catching any wild animal is using a towel. And hell, if we had cats that were worth a darn, they would have done killed that bird. Either way, the bird is safe. If we get to how many likes, I will tweet the video out of me locking Cheyenne in the bathroom.
On the YouTube video?
How many do we have?
We're at 27 right now.
Is that it?
I think it.
I want at least 50.
I'm perpetually.
There's only 28 people watching, so it's a pretty good ratio.
I've liked it 3 times from 3 separate accounts.
It's like a zoo video.
If we get to, let's say, if we get to 51 likes, they got to do a little bit better than average. 51. I will tweet from Robbie_Walsh the video of me locking Cheyenne in the bathroom.
It's fantastic.
It really is worth your time. If for no other reason, if you are listening on FM radio today, all you have to do is jump over to YouTube, hit the like button, and you go right back to listening on radio. If you want to see this video, that is, it's cinema. The way it's not even just the fact that you locked her in the bathroom with this bird. It's the fact that there is a shot of you holding the door closed with your phone still recording in front of a mirror, giggling like a schoolgirl.
She's on the ground using the screen from the window to protect her from this
like
bird.
a shield. She's holding the screen up
but it's
like
the
a
sound
shield.
Robert makes in his moment of panic that makes the video.
Poor bird.
That's my own no.
615-737-1045. Let's start with John in Murfreesboro.
What's up, fellas? Happy Tuesday. My dumbest thing in sports this week comes by way of Tennessee legend.
Wrong day. Let's go to Bobby up next.
Hey, what's up, guys? My dumbest thing in sports is...
What is happening?
Wrong day.
What is going on?
Well, Zach, congratulations. You're our winner.
Come on.
Let's hear him out at least.
What?
No, Buck already shot him off.
No, Zach, though. I'm talking about Zach.
All right, Zach, the name of the segment is Oh No.
Just change whatever your submission was going to be to.
All you have to do is tell us whatever you were going to say and then say, that's what made me say oh no. And we will give you these tickets and a $100 gift card instead of these dopes who call in for a wrong segment. I'm so mad. Your one job is to listen.
Just shut up and open the line. Let's hear him out.
Zach.
All right, bet. So my oh no for this week is going to the U.S. Open for J.J. Spawn. Now, he did end up winning, but to start the final round, it was like his second approach shot or something. His ball hit off the flagstick and rolled 50 yards from the hole, and then his next shot hit off a rake and bounced into a bunker. And when I saw that, I just said, "Oh no!" But then he ended up winning, so it turned out all right for him.
Perfect. Zach, you're a rock star. We're going to put you on hold. Don't hang up. Robert is going to get back in touch with you to give you these tickets because you're the one person that knows how to do your job.
Zach could have done something really funny there and said, "My Friday Fire." Yeah. And we would have given him the tickets out of respect.
Those of you watching on YouTube would have literally seen blood start to spout from my ears. My blood pressure would get so high.
Okay, this is the power of the chat, and I knew we put it too low.
Oh, my goodness.
We have reached the 51. We have hit 62 likes already.
In a matter of minutes.
I knew we should have said 100.
You lazy asses.
You could have liked this video. I ask you guys in the chat
all of you just
every
hiding
day.
in the weeds. Robert will send that message in the chat 17 times, and he'll get like 7 likes.
Always got to dangle a carrot. All right, Bert, post the video.
Dadgummit.
What's your Twitter handle?
Robbie. Yeah, hey, as many. We had 27. I better get like 30 follows for this. Robbie_Walsh.
Oh, you
on
didn't
Twitter.
get enough clout of me tweeting your way too short tie at Slay's wedding last year?
I want the good clout. Not the, wow, he has a big belly. That's why his tie is so short.
Look at how that tie's resting on your stomach.
I didn't have my preparer.
Talk about shelf test.
I did not have my drag along.
See what your boy just did to you? He took you out.
Let's do a shelf test. You and me.
Lucas, with my belly versus your ass?
My butt. Yeah. Let's do it.
I don't like this.
My neck.
Because my belly,
back.
my belly is probably a better shelf.
Yes, it is. I would agree. I would agree. Your stomach protrudes more than Lucas's ass does.
We're working on it.
Why does it always come back to his ass? 615-737-1045. Well, it's the theme of the show. Just a bunch of asses hanging out. All right, coming up next. What are we doing? The most interesting players in the AFC South. I asked Louis Riddick of ESPN that question in the first hour. If you didn't hear it, we'll replay his answer to that, and we'll give you our submissions. I'm Buck Rising. It's 104.5 The Zone. You want to make sure that your financial house is in order. And if you spend as much time planning for your retirement as you do planning for your upcoming summer vacation, call Trajan Wealth today and plan your financial future like a dream summer getaway. Occurrences like inflation, election cycles, new laws, and interest rates can affect the financial markets in the short term, but it doesn't make sense to keep changing the way that you invest in response to the daily news. Instead, Trajan Wealth will help you review your strategy and make sure that it's right for your goals, your level of risk tolerance, and your time horizon. Trajan Wealth will help you decide what to do, and that's something that we could all use in our lives, whether you are somebody who's on top of your finances or you feel like you may have let things go longer than you should have, or maybe you just feel overwhelmed by every time you try to do your budget or your retirement planning process. Call Trajan Wealth today at 615-270-5000. That's 615-270-5000, or visit them online at TrajanWealth.com. Advisory services offered through Trajan Wealth, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. This is a paid advertisement.
Hey guys, it's Lucas. You know I would never lead you astray when it comes to food, right? So believe me when I say that there is no better hot chicken on planet Earth than Hattie B's Hot Chicken. Visit any one of their 7 locations, the Factory at Franklin, Lower Broadway, Melrose, Midtown, Nashville West, and the Nashville Airport. It's hand-breaded, cooked to order, at your spice level, hot or not, everything in between with your favorite piece of chicken. And if you're like me, the sides are critically important, and they get them right at Hattie B's. The Southern Greens, the bacon cheese grits, my personal favorite, the pimento mac and cheese. You can always top it off with some banana pudding or peach cobbler. And if you download the Hattie B's app today, you get a free dessert just by downloading the app. You can start to build up those rewards, order for pickup or delivery. You can also bring the heat to your event, party, wedding, corporate function. Let Hattie be your guest of honor. Having a little shindig this weekend, you know I'll be catering it, and the people will be happy with the Hattie B's hot chicken as the spread. And I'll be heading to HattieB.com for that catering. It's a family-run restaurant serving up your favorite Southern food and authentic Nashville hot chicken. So go to Hattie B's today.
Welcome back to the show. Fueled by Hattie B's Hot Chicken, the best hot chicken in the world, but you knew this. Hattie B's, by the way, officially open for business. Any one of their Middle Tennessee locations. If you want to go to the stores, you could do that. If you want a mobile order, lunch right around the corner, maybe it's your lunchtime now, you can do that too. Hattie B's app, very effective, very efficient. They even have all kind of great rewards in there. In fact, I think I've still got 1,000 bonus points, which means $10 off my next order because I ordered lunch for all of us the last time around.
Well, see, I think you should continue to order lunch. That means you would get another 10 and another 10, and then eventually you would get enough to get us a free lunch.
I literally offered the 2 weeks that I did OTAs and minicamp to buy the two of you lunch.
I sent you the order. I sent you the order.
That's not true.
Yeah, I did. I said 500 grilled tenders, and you never ordered them.
Yeah, I'm not ordering you 500 grilled tenders.
Well, it would last.
What are you going to do? What are you going to do with 500 grilled tenders? I saw Lucas even contemplating eating that half bagel and lox that was sitting in the break room or in the production room earlier that he put in the fridge and said, I'll save that for later, even though it's salmon that's been sitting out for an hour.
My tummy's getting rumbly. I might go snack on that
was
too.
that. I'm just glad you didn't have an anxiety attack from the cold brew you drank this morning. I thought you were going to have a stroke.
I don't drink that much coffee. I needed a little hunk this morning, and it hunked me right up. But we would have rationed those 500 tenders, damn it.
Why would we just not buy more tenders?
Because then it's like I feel like a squirrel. You know what I mean? Like then you can go back to your hole, eat a little acorn, go back in the yard.
You're just going to end up taking them home and sleep eating 455 tenders.
There ain't nothing wrong with that. As for me and my house, we will
Except for the woman you trapped in a bathroom with a live bird while you scurried away. It's her problem. It's not your problem.
The video has been posted.
At Robbie_Walsh is where you can follow Robert on Twitter. If you're so inclined. You may, unfortunately, see some unsightly videos of him or pictures of him because he rarely has clothes on. We can confirm that you do have clothes on in this video.
I double check, triple check to make sure.
Okay. Well, I will retweet that on my timeline for those of you who do not follow Robert. And you can follow Robert at Lucas Panzica, at Buck Rising if you want to follow the rest of the show. So, we asked Louis Riddick a question when he was on with us about an hour ago. It's crazy that it's already been an hour. Show's moving today. We've got BJ Callahan, by the way, the head coach of the Nashville SC team, here at 12:20. So an hour from now, you can hear from an actually successful pro sports coach in the city of Nashville. Those are few and far between these days. Who's the most interesting player in the AFC South this year? It doesn't have to be a rookie. Doesn't have to be a vet. Doesn't have to be a player who's been under contract here. It can be a new addition via free agency, and there are a few. I think we should keep it to players just for the sake of the exercise as opposed to going coaches or owners or things like that because we could be here for hours. But if I gave you one player, we'll go around the room. Lucas, you can start if you want to. Who's the most interesting player in the division this year?
Travis Hunter. It's not even close to me. There's just no bigger curiosity to me than Travis Hunter and how he's going to be deployed. And if he is deployed in the way that he wants to be, which is offense and defense, as many snaps as humanly possible, how sustainable will that be for him in his rookie year? Like, I'm more intrigued by that question than I am the question of C.J. Stroud trying to rediscover his rookie form as he goes into his third year than I am with the question of the quarterback situation in Indianapolis. ESPN did kind of this whip around NFL minicamp updates article where they polled essentially every ESPN NFL Nation reporter for these teams. And for the Jags, Michael DeRocco, the ESPN Jags reporter, talked about Travis Hunter. And he said the Jags are still in the process of figuring out how to deploy wide receiver / corner Travis Hunter. And that includes how much he'll spend in practice on each side of the ball. They used part of their final minicamp session as a practice run, with Hunter spending most of the workout on offense, but finishing the last few periods on defense. He goes on to say in the 7 practices that were open to the media, 4 OTAs and 3 days of minicamp in the spring, Hunter spent 5 of them completely on offense, 1 of them on defense, and 1 splitting time. So it's kind of leaning offense now. Liam Cohen said, quote, that's definitely what we have to build towards for training camp. And then obviously in season, knowing that during practice, he's going to have to do both. He wants to do it. It's not as if it's something he can't handle. He wants to go and do that more. But ultimately, we also have to protect him from himself at times as well and make sure we get out of this phase healthy. But that is absolutely the plan moving forward. It's the biggest curiosity to me, how that actually plays out in the regular season.
Robert?
I think everyone is going to agree with me universally on this. Colts tight end Jelani Woods.
Not the one they drafted in the first round this year.
Did a 6'7"? Dude had turf toe. Y'all can't find him another big-ass toe to play last year?
No, he's a giant. I remember talking about him. When was he a draft pick? 2 years ago?
2022, I believe.
That's crazy that he's been in the league for 3 years.
Wore 00 at Virginia. Super badass. But that's not really my pick. I do love
makes you look fat in 00.
Unless you're 6'7", and then you just look like a massive human being.
I don't know. There's still numbers that look weird.
Fee-fi-fo-fum.
Especially in the Titans font is a very unflattering font in certain numbers.
But no, not Jelani. I was just joking, being facetious. Anthony Richardson is the most interesting for me. I don't think there is another player in the AFC South that has a higher degree of difficulty, a higher range of ceiling floor than Anthony Richardson. If by some grace of God, missing all of this practice time due to injury, he is able to figure it out, he has the tools to capitalize this. And the Colts have a roster to maximize this if he becomes a good quarterback, having a great running back room, great tight end room, great wide receivers. If he's somehow able to figure this out, he could be a very good quarterback. But at the off chance that he's not good, this is a plane crash of the likes we haven't seen since Trey Lance.
Oh, disagree. I mean, maybe for Chris Ballard, he's probably getting fired anyway. I mean, Jim Irsay passing away is the biggest security blanket that man had, respectfully. Have you seen the quotes from, is it Carly Gordon Irsay or Irsay Gordon? One of his daughters, who's now the controlling owner, she's assumed control. She wears a headset.
I haven't. I did see she wore a headset, but I haven't seen her quotes.
She wears a headset during the games because, and not, I'm not sure what her level of football acumen is necessarily, but she wants to listen to the coaching staff communicating during games because she wants to see if they're full of bleep or not, which I kind of love.
It's kind of David Tepperish. Like, you hired them, right? They should be good at their jobs.
Well, no, her dad hired them.
Well, okay. Well, I respectfully, I don't think anyone in the front office who's never had any experience other than owning a football team would have any indication of whether they are or are not full of crap.
I think I agree with that.
You should, respectfully, I don't want anyone to be like, you're saying she's a woman, so she doesn't know.
No,
I'm not saying that. I'm saying that
if you put me on a headset, I wouldn't know what the hell's going on.
Exactly.
Yeah,
or David Tepper. How the hell are you going to know if they are or aren't full of crap?
Yeah.
Like, the only way you're going to know is if your team is worth a darn when it's time to play.
No, but I mean, I'm sure,
I don't get that.
Well, I mean, we don't know specifically what that dialogue looks like. If there is a streamlined, effective mode of communication and things are being communicated clearly and plays are being executed clearly, like, I think it's just base level operation.
Sure, but
because what immediately comes into my mind is Matt Eberflus looking like a complete and total dope standing on the sidelines as time is getting ready to expire with his rookie quarterback running around like a chicken with his head cut off.
Well, that would terrify me.
That, to me, if I was on a headset listening to whatever the hell was going on there, I would probably assume, oh, you're bad at this.
Okay, let me put it in our terms then. I would not like our bosses to sit in here and hear our break conversations to judge whether or not we were good at producing or having the show. Like, they still wouldn't have any recollection of what it goes in to make the show, even if it seems cluster during the breaks. Like, same thing for football. Like, I wouldn't expect her to know anything about pacing or timing or play calling, or even if it does sound jumbled, or if it should sound jumbled. Like, that to me is just like, okay, I understand you're wearing the big pants now because Jim passed away, but like, it doesn't mean that you have to be like, oh, I'm going to help. Like, I think the best way for you to help is to sit back and be in the owner's box and finagle with clients and whatnot. But that's just me. Maybe she's the most interesting person in the AFC.
Well, we're keeping it to players because, like I said, if you did flesh it out, I mean, if you fleshed it out to ownership, I could make a very compelling argument for Amy Adams Strunk just because she keeps firing people in the last couple of years.
But I wouldn't argue with that.
Derek on the F&M Bank chat says, can you imagine the fan response to Amy Adams Strunk micromanaging the Titans coaching staff like that? You'd be slamming her. I mean, I think most people would, right?
There's already evidence that there is micromanaging happening, and that's why
we're talking about wearing a headset during a game to make sure everything is up to par. That they're doing the right things,
checks out
the
here.
right play. Yeah,
like a ship-shape condition,
she puts
fellas.
on a spider why bananas, like all the jumbled words for play call.
Talking on the headset.
I know she's listening, but like she hears a play call, she takes off. Yep, checks out. Yeah, good call.
Also, the dude who used to run it had an interim coach who had zero experience in Jeff Saturday. Like, I don't think that y'all's tree is very good at making decisions based around football. Like,
any owner keeping a headset to make sure that the coaching staff is doing a good job during a game, I am not taking seriously. Don't pretend like you know what the hell they're talking about on there. And that's for any owner in the NFL.
What if the Colts end up being good?
It will not be because she
Is
listens.
she going to get credit for that?
It won't be because she's wearing a headset. But
why? The Titans fans did the team mom thing with Amy just because Derrick Henry was on their roster.
You are so good at making these comparisons next to something that just has nothing to do with the other. It will be because
it's exactly the same thing.
It will be because she let people do their jobs, sure, not because she was on a headset and listening to the plays.
Which is what Louis Riddick said of ownership and how things get micromanaged from top to bottom in NFL organizations. The most interesting player to me in the AFC South this year is Daniel Jones. For the exact opposite reason that Robert just articulated. I think Daniel Jones is their starting quarterback. I think the Anthony Richardson thing is already done. Did you guys talk about last week him dealing with an injury again?
Yeah, which is why it is interesting, but it's not the most interesting because I'm of the mindset now, Daniel Jones is the Colts quarterback. It's over.
No, I know. But
it's over, Anthony
What if
Richardson.
the Colts are good?
Sure.
We have gone through this. The Colts have been inept. I mean, the Colts have been wholly inept. From the Matt Ryan signing to I guess that was the same year, but the Jeff Saturday thing, Chris Ballard being in that job for, a decade. We're coming up on a decade of Chris. He was hired the same year John Robinson was. We were coming up on a decade of him being the general manager of that team, and they've never won the division, and he still has a job. Now, maybe he hasn't done anything as egregious as John did to get fired that way, but still. They have been overcovered, overhyped, and middling since Andrew Luck left. Phillip Rivers gave them a couple of good seasons. Was he there for 2 or 1? 2, I want to say.
Rivers?
Didn't he have 2 playoff appearances? Or just the 1?
I thought it was just 1.
Okay.
I think he was just there for 1 season.
He lost a playoff game to the Bills. I can remember that very clearly. I thought he was there for 2, but maybe I'm misremembering. Either way.
They were going to sign him when they had quarterback injuries one year, and there was a discussion about adding him for the playoffs.
Bringing him out of retirement or something?
Yeah.
I think that Daniel Jones, if he becomes this next rehabilitated quarterback with I think Shane Steichen's a good coach. The fact that he got 8 wins out of last year's debacle with the quarterback situation that they had and a roster that's not bad. It's not the best, but it's not bad. It's a solid, above average roster in the NFL. If they turn Daniel Jones into an actual quarterback, and all of a sudden we're talking about the Titans chasing not just the Texans, and I would probably argue the Jags, but the Colts too. That's worst case scenario. If Daniel Jones hits, that changes the dynamics of the division.
It definitely does. But what was interesting about that to me was that quarterback competition with the top 5 pick that they selected that has had a turbulent start to his career.
Sure. And
a potential reclamation project.
But have you now already put him to the side? You've already put him to the side.
Who, Richardson? Yeah. Oh, yeah. He's I expect nothing of Anthony Richardson's NFL career.
Sure. So
I've never seen him be good.
So I don't think that, I get Robert's case there, but to me, he's already a non-factor in my head. He and Will Levis are on the same plane.
Yes.
But
I don't think about you at all.
There isn't a 0% chance that he doesn't play. There is still a chance that he does play or starts games. That's why I think it's interesting because of the complete opposite reactions that could happen. If he miraculously is good, remember Jamar Chase, he couldn't catch balls in the preseason. And then all of a sudden, obviously this is a preseason to season, not year-to-year difference, but and then he was good and nothing was wrong. What if something clicks and he is good? Not saying that that's going to happen, but the polar opposite of reactions is why I think he's the most interesting.
615-737-1045. None of us mentioned a Titan.
Yeah, or C.J. Stroud.
Louis Riddick's was C.J. Stroud. In fact, do you have that audio? That explanation? He had two that he has submitted. We'll get to that audio here in just a second when Robert lets me know that he has it.
I think the most interesting to me because of this whole phenomenon when you're talking about, second year slump, when you're talking about quarterbacks in particular, the most interesting is CJ for me because he was Stroud, because when he came out in the draft, many people thought that Bryce was head and shoulders the number 1 overall pick in that year, and that CJ was just a beneficiary of playing at Ohio State, maybe playing a schedule that didn't always test him like SEC schedules tested Bryce, and that he wouldn't be able to flourish in the NFL like he did in his rookie season, which had one of the best rookie seasons you've ever seen. And then he has to step back because there's a lot of other extenuating circumstances that have nothing to do with him. It's very interesting to me. It'll be interesting to me to see how he responds this year and how D'Amico handles him this year. and what that offense looks like going forward.
So that's Louis Riddick of ESPN. He was on with us in the first hour. We talked a great deal of Cam Ward, but those were the two most interesting players in the division to him. Louis brought up, obviously, C.J. Stroud, who had a dip, whose offensive line suffered significantly due to a lack of production in front of him, whose offensive coordinator got fired, whose offensive line coach, I believe, also got fired.
Yeah, he did.
If I'm not mistaken. So we're still, how many names in the AFC South would you get to? Because we didn't mention Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence is fascinating, just in terms of Liam Cohen, the fit there, the quarterback rehabilitation. It doesn't just apply to Daniel Jones. If Trevor Lawrence turns into an actual number 1 overall pick, this is deeply problematic if you are looking up from the basement of the division, as Titans fans are right now. Maybe you still think it's wide open, but there's a lot of different dominoes here that could derail things.
And Cam Ward, by nature of being the number 1 overall pick as a rookie, is fascinating. But
how many different players do you name before you get to Cam Ward?
And I don't think that's a bad thing.
No, it's fine.
With the offseason that we
I
had
don't need him to be
last year.
I need him to be good.
Exactly. And that's what I love about Cam Ward, is that we don't talk about him as this interesting off-field guy and what he's doing outside of football.
Unconventional, projected type player, all these different things, yeah.
So with the offseason the Titans had last year of checking every box and big splash deals, and I am very okay with the Titans being down the list as far as the most fascinating storylines of the offseason in the AFC South are concerned. And I would think that building, with the way things went last year, how things fell on their face with all the hype that was built up going into 2024, I would think that building would prefer it to be that way also going into 2025.
Well, yeah, especially after the way that they oversold themselves last year and then looked like fools after the fact.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
615-737-1045 is the number if you would like to jump in. We will also talk about the best moves of the NFL offseason. Is this specific to the Titans?
No, there was an article by Jeremy Fowler where NFL execs and scouts that he talked to pick out their favorite offseason moves. And you might be surprised by what the first 2 listed are.
I'm Buck Rising. It's 104.5 The Zone. Welcome back to the show, fueled by Hattie B's Hot Chicken. 615-737-1045. Get in there if you want. You're welcome to weigh in on what we were talking about earlier. Who's the most interesting player in the AFC South in 2025? We all went around the room. We did not pick a single Titans player, but that's okay. They don't have to be interesting. They just have to be better. Louis Riddick's selection was C.J. Stroud or Anthony Richardson. I went with Daniel Jones. Lucas had Travis Hunter, and Robert also selected Anthony Richardson. Because there's a lot of unknowns. Now, this article on ESPN.com, done by Jeremy Fowler, where executives and scouts picked their favorite moves of the NFL offseason. Now, are these ranked? Like, as I scroll down these things?
They're not ranked.
Okay.
Are you looking at it?
I'm looking at it now.
Oh, well, that's too bad.
Why you wanted me to? Okay, I just opened it up. Go ahead. Let's play this
because
game.
I want you to guess what the first one listed is. The best moves. Their favorite moves of the execs and scouts and various NFL personnel people, coaches as well, that Jeremy Fowler talked to anonymously.
Where is Laramie Tunsil to the Commanders on that list?
It's the fifth one listed.
Okay. So that's not necessarily
it's not going, here's the
ranking.
best, here's the second. It's not a ranking, but
okay.
It's just listed in a certain order.
All right. So Laramie Tunsil to the Commanders is one of the most substantial offseason acquisitions or offseason moves by a mile, because the Washington football team's or the Washington Commanders offensive line situation wasn't the best. They have a super mobile quarterback that is young, that is pliable, that is okay with taking some hits right now and making things work. But I don't know. It's kind of crazy that Houston was that quick to get rid of him.
Yeah, the quote here from an NFL coordinator about Tunsil is, dude is still good as anyone. Honestly, I think he just gets bored and loses focus sometimes, but I'm guessing he will be highly motivated in Washington, and when he is, he's among the very best. An AFC scout says he is still a top 3 tackle, Laramie Tunsil. Okay, guess again. The first move listed.
If it's an ESPN list, give me George Pickens to the Cowboys.
That's
Pickens
the second one.
Okay, second. All right. What's the blurb there?
On Pickens, the quote is, dealing with CD and him opens things up for them. A coach in the division said. Another AFC personnel man said he'll be a big piece there. When he's covered, he's really open. I know the concerns are there, but I think having an already established passing game with veterans to help him along and the fact that he's in a contract year will help keep him in line. If you can tap into what he can do fully, his major ability will shine through. So it does detail the blurb written by Fowler, maturity issues that were well known within Pittsburgh's locker room and front office. So the Steelers made the evaluation that Pickens and Rodgers probably would not hit it off. And Dallas have been willing to relinquish draft capital for high upside talent on rookie contracts, which is what they are doing here. But favorable quotes.
Well, you bring up Rodgers. Where does Rodgers do?
That's the first one.
Oh, really?
That's the first one.
That's just the headline grabber, right? That's
sure.
Not in terms of importance.
Yeah. And I get that.
Yeah.
But it reads fatalistic members of the fan base. How about that word? Fatalistic members of the fan base.
What a great word.
And some members of the media.
Can you give me an Urban Dictionary reading of fatalistic by the end of the segment, please?
Some members of the media also, Fowler writes, tried to shame Pittsburgh into, this word, eschewing. He's all over the place with the thesaurus in this one. Into eschewing a 9 or 10 win season in favor of the 2025 tank job that could help finesse a franchise quarterback out of next year's draft class. The Steelers will lose in the postseason anyway, they said, talking about fans and some members of media. He goes, ask New York Giants fans how they felt about going 3-14 last year and still not getting the number 1 pick in the draft with one sure thing at quarterback, Cam Ward. Pittsburgh said no thanks, as it always does, and for good reason. So no thanks to tanking, even though many in Pittsburgh want like that full reset. Ramon was on here talking about it yesterday. Like, Pittsburgh fans are tired of the no losing seasons narrative. They feel like they're kind of mired in mediocrity a little bit right now. He says the Steelers went with the best option at quarterback, 41-year-old Rodgers on a team-friendly contract, paying $13.65 million and pushing towards $20 million with incentives. He says while the skepticism is understandable, I've talked to several coaches who watched Rodgers closely last year, including members of the Jet staff, and they believe Pittsburgh just got a steal. A veteran NFL offensive coach said to Jeremy Fowler, quote, "He's still throwing the bleep out of the ball, honestly. He's the best quarterback they've had since Roethlisberger. We will see how the body holds up, but I think he's going to help them immediately." And he talks about his numbers last year, throwing for nearly 4,000 yards, 28 touchdowns. And then an AFC executive says, quote, "Look, the mobility is an issue with Rodgers, there's no doubt, but where he helps them is with the plus arm strength and the field vision from the pocket. They have not had that. I'm not sure that will be enough, but the offense will at least be respectable."
What does respectable buy you in that division?
Yeah, in the
Fourth
AFC
place?
North, it very well could.
Well, Cleveland.
Yeah, Cleveland exists, so it could buy you third. I mean, look, the Bengals right now, I'm not going to sit here and say, Joe Burrow's great, but, 9 to 10 wins for the Steelers could beat out another Bengals season with Burrow being superhuman. And
They were 9-8, the Bengals, last year.
Right, that's what I'm saying. A Steelers 9 to 10 win season could still be better than the Bengals this year. It's
it
very
could be
feasible.
like a strength of victory thing, like with the Seahawks were 10-7 last year, so were the Rams, and the Rams ended up winning the division by nature of strength of victory tiebreakers, I think it was. So yeah, that could happen. What's more likely? The Steelers make the playoffs with Aaron Rodgers, or they don't?
I think it's more likely that they do.
You think it's more likely that the Pittsburgh Steelers in the AFC North make the playoffs?
I think it's more likely that the team that has made the playoffs with Duck Hodges and Mason Rudolph in the past makes it with Aaron Rodgers. Yes.
Again, when Duck Hodges and Mason Rudolph were quarterbacking the Steelers, Aaron Rodgers was a vastly superior player.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and I think 41-year-old Aaron Rodgers is a vastly superior player than Duck Hodges.
Isn't he living in Nashville, Duck Hodges?
He is. He is.
Delaney Wilson.
That's right.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I believe he's on.
Good for him.
She lost her ass. Stop it.
Last I checked, he was on the
Ozempic strikes again, huh?
CPA coaching staff.
Oh, really?
Doing some local high school ball.
Congratulations to the happy couple.
So, I know you're down on Aaron Rodgers, but don't tell me that Duck Hodges, who's in the NFL for less than 2 years,
I wasn't going to do that,
is better than 41-year-old Aaron Rodgers.
I am perfectly happy to make the case that the gulf between Mason Rudolph present day and Aaron Rodgers present day isn't as great as you're making it, but I will not make the case for Duck Hodges, respectfully. So, if you had to pick, I don't know what my favorite one is out of these, because they also have Seattle flipping Geno Smith for Sam Darnold and Jalen Milroe, which is an interesting one, because that's 3 quarterbacks. And in a normal situation, would Seattle not receive praise for that? Is Sam Darnold still carrying a stigma with his name?
What's the stigma?
That he's, a one-hit wonder.
I mean, that's what he's there to
That
prove.
he can't do it without Kevin O'Connell.
I guess so.
That he's still the guy that sees ghosts from time to time.
I think he carries.
That he's the guy that pooped himself in the playoffs.
I think he is more.
And against the Rams, or against the Lions at the end of the year.
I think he's more the face of Reclamation Project in the NFL than he is that guy.
No, that's Baker. Baker is the face of our Reclamation
Yeah,
Project.
I guess so. But Darnold was down worse than Baker was. That was a bigger reclamation.
They were in the same spot. Literally. They were both in Carolina.
Yeah. I'm talking about, Darnold's start to his career was rockier than Baker's start to his career in Cleveland.
Yes.
So the reclamation was
I see.
greater for Darnold than
the
for
highs
Baker.
for Baker were higher than Sam Darnold's ever was in his initial stop, for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know who's going to end up looking like the better. I really like the Seahawks. I just like the way that they're organized. I like Mike McDonald as a coach. I don't love Sam Darnold as a quarterback, but I get it in principle because Geno's, 36? I don't know who's going to end up looking the better out of those two teams this year because the Raiders are still in the AFC West, but it's not like the NFC West is any kind of slouch. They also have on this list the Browns draft haul after moving from number 2 to number 5. What it says here is this will work out swimmingly if Cleveland Browns general manager Andrew Berry plays it right.
Yeah, if they don't select Justin Gilbert in the top 10 again and he ends up being a nothing burger. They haven't shown a propensity to be able to draft well. That's why I didn't like the
This
thing.
draft. Dylan Gabriel and Shador in the same draft. It's weird. I don't know. That Mason Graham deal. I get it's a lot to come up for a player like Travis Hunter who doesn't have a set position and is probably playing the lesser of his two positions or wants to play the lesser of his two positions. Like he's going to specialize as a wide receiver when the NFL world seems to think him a better corner than a wide receiver. Not like he's a bad wide receiver, but. And then Laramie Tunsil. Oh, also, you know what I forgot until I looked at this list? I forgot Devontae Adams was on the Rams.
Yeah, that is an underrated. That's a under the radar move for sure. That people throughout the course of the season will be putting on a Rams game and being like, "Oh yeah, I forgot he was there."
They paid him a ton of money too. Like for just an older wide receiver, I know he can still contribute at a very high level, but just a lot of money to dedicate to someone who is that old.
2 years, $44 million. Fowler says they can escape the deal after 1 year and $20 million and still save $14 million on the cap, but still.
20 mil for a guy like that.
Yeah.
Like, he's got a Taco Bell in his house, though. Needs that money.
Need what, for more Taco Bell?
I mean, to afford it, you got to pay.
What, is Taco Bell also dealing with inflation? I haven't been to a Taco Bell in 100 years.
We just got to think about having a restaurant in your house, passing safety scores, paying cashiers, worrying about
You're
import,
talking about
export.
payroll and stuff.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Having a restaurant in your house is nuts.
Yeah, Taco Bell has suffered from inflation. Like you used to be able to show up to Taco Bell with like 89 cents and get something. I will say their value menu still, like you can still spend $5-6 and get like a couple decent things. But a Crunchwrap now is like 7 times what it used to be.
College me suffered from inflation from Taco Bell.
Yeah, literally.
I got super fat my sophomore year.
I had a cookout right across the road from my apartment.
Oh, yeah.
Anytime you were
no
coming
chance.
back from they're open till 3. I was set up for failure.
Yeah.
Ooh,
I should look like a Greek god right now.
Diego
some Taco
Pavia
Bell.
is starting fights with the Vol football program. We'll play you that audio from Bussin' with the Boys coming up next.
It is 12:02. Good afternoon from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I'm Lucas Panzica. The Oklahoma City Thunder have a 3-2 series lead in the NBA Finals after a 120-109 win at home over the Pacers last night. Jalen Williams, 40 points, a playoff career high. Game 6 in Indiana is on Thursday night. Stanley Cup final, the Florida Panthers are a win away from being back-to-back Stanley Cup champs. Game 6 against the Oilers happening tonight in Sunrise. Puck drop at 7 p.m. And the College World Series happening in Omaha. UCLA and LSU in the top of the 8th inning in a game that was suspended due to weather yesterday. LSU leads 8-5. Coming up at 1 p.m. an elimination game between Oregon State and Louisville. For all your foundation repairs and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Final hour already. Show is flying by. Welcome in. It's me, Robert, and Lucas until 1 o'clock. BJ Callahan, coach of Nashville SC, going to be here in 15 minutes. They are riding a streak of 11 unbeaten results, which is a record, is it not?
Club record, yeah. Up to third in the Eastern Conference.
Feel pretty good. It's nice to see a professional sports franchise in the city of Nashville not be lifeless. Been a while. So we'll look forward to talking to BJ here in just a second. In the meantime, when's their next game, by the way? When's the next game you're on?
They've got another mini break here a week from tomorrow. They are in New England, and then they are in D.C. the Saturday after that on the 28th. And then it'll get back to more regularly scheduled programming on Saturdays.
It's an unnecessarily long season, it feels like.
It's only 34 games, but it is spread out.
It's just dragged out.
Yeah, it's like late February is the first match day, and then the regular season ends mid-October, and then you have playoffs, where the MLS Cup Finals being played the first week of December. So you really only get a couple months off. Maybe, 1 month, 3 weeks if you're one of those teams in the final.
If you've listened to this show for any period of time, you probably know my position on sportsmanship. I'm against it. I am for more hate in sports. I enjoy rivalries. I love that Tennessee and Vanderbilt in particular, specific to baseball, have had one of the most hotly contested rivalries in college sports, no matter what sport you're talking about. I enjoy trash talk. I enjoy personality, especially when you can back it up. Diego Pavia, the Vanderbilt quarterback who won a lawsuit against the NCAA to maintain his eligibility or to extend his eligibility because his case was, you'll correct me if I'm wrong here, but he was basically saying that his JUCO years didn't count and that he should be able to continue to profit off name, image, and likeness now that he is a Division I athlete as opposed to being a transfer. And he won his case. Zakai Ziegler, by the way, I'm sure you talked about that.
Yeah, he was denied an injunction. There might be some other recourse for Zakai, but doesn't seem like it's going to happen for him.
So, Vandy, not the place that you normally associate with trash talk. But they're coming off of 7-6 football season, which in almost any other program would not be a position to trash talk. But for Vandy, baby, that's the highest of highs, damn near. So Diego Pavia does an interview with Taylor Lewan and Will Compton, their podcast, Bussin' with the Boys. I believe this episode aired this morning or was dropped in the feeds this morning. And he had some thoughts about the rivalry between Vanderbilt and Tennessee.
Vanderbilt's going to run Tennessee after this year. Like, this is going to be the new staple of, like, college football is going to happen here at Vanderbilt.
Do any of you and the boys ever, like, talk about that? Like, we got to be the state school. Well, we're in Nashville, Tennessee. We're in the Music City. Like, we need to be the brand of Tennessee.
Everyone wants to come to Tennessee because of Nashville. So they want to come to Nashville, so Vanderbilt. And then when we have, like, the most money in NIL, like, why not come here? So, like, we literally just have to win this year and throughout the rest of the year. It'll take care of itself.
You think Vandy will have the most money in the game? Or
I think we'll be up there.
Yeah.
But, like, it's Nashville.
Yeah, there's a lot of big hitters around here.
Yeah.
They just need a team to believe in.
Yeah, that's all they need.
They need Diego Pavia.
How much money is FanDuel giving those two? Why does their audio sound that bad? What the hell are they doing?
Just sounds like
because they're recording in an aluminum bus. It just sounds like someone's tapping their feet. And
they have money to soundproof the damn bus?
I mean, he was moving his microphone too.
That's what
you hear initially.
I think Diego was just kind of moving the mic up and down. I don't know.
All right.
Which that's all the producer's fault. Let's shame them.
No, I would not do that to Jack and JP.
They put you on with attractive women too much. You couldn't throw them under the bus.
That's true. Also, you don't like that when I do it to you.
No, I'm standing.
So now what are you going to stand on the shoulders of other producers?
No, I want you to treat us all the same, damn it.
Oh, no, but I like them. That's not funny. So, Vandy is going to run Tennessee according to Diego Pavia. Diego's right. Nashville's a great place. Nashville is a destination. Nashville is attractive if it's got legitimate college football, and Vandy looked like a legitimate college football team. I know he got hurt, and I know they faded down the stretch after the Alabama game. That was their Super Bowl, but that's fine. It was like 4 Super Bowls for them. It's a huge accomplishment. What Diego, and it seems Will, who I think that's who said there's a lot of heavy hitters around Nashville, yet most of them give money to Tennessee, I would assume. So what he's assuming is Nashville's NIL pool or Vanderbilt's NIL pool, if he's talking specifically about the city of Nashville. I'm sure the University of Tennessee, if you had to, and I'm just guessing, I don't have facts and figures in front of me, but if you had to speculate, right, you're probably guessing that heavy hitters in the state of Tennessee that are donating to name, image, and likeness collectives are donating to the University of Tennessee as opposed to Vandy, yes?
Yeah, I mean, Vanderbilt has upped its NIL game.
Sure.
There's no doubt about that. The academic thing is an obstacle to being meaningfully competitive in the SEC. It just is, right? I love this from Diego Pavia. James Franklin brought some of this when he took over at Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
That brash, like, we're not backing down to anybody mentality. And he led Vanderbilt to back-to-back 9-win seasons, something that felt unfathomable for Vanderbilt football. So I will not begrudge Diego Pavia for having that mentality, but he says one thing in that audio and makes it sound very easy. Like, all we got to do is just win this year, right? All we got to do is,
well, for him, yes.
Win what? 9, 10 games this year to be on that trajectory that you're talking about? That's a massive feat for Vanderbilt football.
Huge.
If you're able to get there. So I respect the chestiness from the Vanderbilt quarterback who burst onto the scene last year, and they were bowl eligible after a dreadful 2023 season. And they could have been better, right? If they don't lose to Georgia State early, they're an 8-win team, including the bowl win, right? There was another game here or there that slipped away from them, and they could have been a 9-win team, including the bowl win. So they're not that far away from getting back closer to the heights that they were under James Franklin. But it is a lot easier said than done to do that this year. And even then, that puts you on a nice trajectory. But at the same time, you will be at a deficit when it comes to resources and the amount of people that are giving money to Tennessee football and the NIL resources that they have. But I respect the hell out of this.
Well, and it's also as easy to say that as it's ever been right now because Tennessee is very much in flux. Like if Tennessee gets away with a 7 or 8 win season this year, you'd probably feel okay about it, right? That's where we're I think that's where most reasonable people have their expectations placed, given all the roster turnover, not even just the Nico thing, but just generally.
Yeah.
So this is a good year for Pavia to take that case. It's also the only year that he's got left at Vanderbilt.
Mm-hmm.
So to Pavia, that is true. I mean, I don't know. I'm depending on what that looks like. Is Vandy at Neyland this year?
Yeah.
Okay. That's tough. Neyland is a very difficult place to play. I would argue it's as difficult a place to play as anywhere in the SEC.
And we'll see what Tennessee has in Joey Aguilar. That could end up being a great game, right? Like Tennessee won by 3 or 4 scores in Nashville last year against Vanderbilt. Tennessee's quarterback situation is a huge question mark going into next year. So we'll see. Like, look, the truth is
Pavia better than anybody on Tennessee's roster at quarterback right now?
Oh, I have no idea. I mean, he's proven more than anybody on Tennessee's roster right now.
Point.
Yeah, but we're months out from the football season. So that answer, I guess, that question could be answered as the season goes along. But yeah, he's done more than anybody right now. But like we know that Vanderbilt football is never going to run the state of Tennessee, right? Like we know that in terms of its fan base and its resources and all of this stuff. But it doesn't mean that I can't appreciate what Diego Pavia is doing here, because he has brought something, a juice to Vanderbilt football that literally has not been there, even an inkling of it since, a tiny little spike during the Derek Mason era, making a couple bowl games, but really since the James Franklin
3-0 start, baby. They'll always have that 3-0 start and that ranked win against K-State.
Yeah.
I'm of two minds of this, because I like the attitude. I like him. I like what he brings to the table, all the things that you just articulated. But it's a very easy position to take when you only have 1 year left. Now, again, he doesn't have to be beholden to any of this. He can be prisoner of the moment all he wants, especially in the mercenary landscape that is college football. He is the definition of that. He came from another program. He won. He's become a bit of a national cult hero after the fact because of the upset over Alabama and because of the personality on top of that. And the fact that he's not dissuaded by that. I also like that he's irrationally confident.
Sure. Yeah, it's
I
great.
love that. Right?
It's great.
People, if you are a Tennessee fan mad at Diego Pavia, are you also mad at Cam Ward for saying he can't be effed with? Like, that's the same kind of vein to me here.
Well, no. Diego Pavia is like trash talking directly to Tennessee fans. It's apples and oranges. Cam Ward's talking about, I'm going to throw the bleep out of the ball.
There are still parallels, but he's saying he can't be effed with. He hasn't played an NFL game.
The moxie, this would be, though, like if Cam Ward said, no, we're about to run the AFC South. Like, that's what, like, I get, it's coming from the same place of moxie.
I think he has said something to that effect. Maybe not exactly, but.
Yeah, look, the thing Vanderbilt has not done in the modern era, other than the James Franklin era, is make a bowl game, have the season of success they had last year to their standards, and then elevate, right? Elevate from there. Like Derek Mason beat Tennessee. He made bowl games, but never elevated past that. James Franklin did, and then went to Penn State. Can Vanderbilt do that in 2025 is the big question behind Diego Pavia. And if they do, then that's a fantastic step for the trajectory of that program. But when you're talking about taking over the state and being the program that runs Tennessee.
Oh, yeah, no, he's loud wrong.
Yeah, that's a whole other thing.
He's loud wrong.
But I appreciate where he's coming from.
Oh, for sure. He also had a comment. Can we play the other? Is it bleeped?
Find out.
All right. Him, apparently Diego Pavia got a ballpark offer from another program of $4 to $4.5 million.
How much after the year was the portal blowing up for you on potential teams wanting you to come be the quarterback for them at a different school?
A lot. It was less nuts. Like, yeah, it was less reaching out to me. It was like more reaching out to like my brothers and my family and stuff.
Was there a dollar amount that you heard that was like, holy shit?
Yeah, I don't know if I'm supposed to share, but like anywhere from like 4 to 4.5.
To leave and go somewhere else.
To leave.
What conference?
SEC.
Checks out.
Ooh, in conference. Any Big Ten teams trying to get you?
You want to play with the best. You don't want to play with the Big Ten.
Of course, the two of them are former Big Ten athletes. 615-737-1045 is how you chime in on Diego Pavia's.
Nebraska is now in the Big Ten.
Oh, Will wasn't. Okay, at the time. I got you.
But I appreciate how much he capes up for the Big Ten now.
Will is in Nashville up next. Hey, Will.
Hey, what's going on?
Not much.
No, sorry about that. So I know it's apples and oranges, but so Tennessee's endowment is about $1 billion, right? Vanderbilt's endowment's over $10 billion. So I think when Diego's talking about the heavy hitters, that's what he's talking about.
Okay.
And it's like when you got the Frists and the Ingrams and all those families, they're not giving to Knoxville, they're giving to Vanderbilt. So like, if it's a 10x endowment, like eventually Vanderbilt is going to take over, in my opinion, the state, just because Nashville's where it's at and that's where the money is. So I think that's where it's coming from.
No, I get it. He's still wrong.
You got to get him to care about athletics, right? And that has not happened to that level.
They've had that money the entire time, right? Yeah. Candace Story-Lee is begging and pleading for $300 million to get them up to par. BJ Callahan is having great success. Nashville SC is having great success, and BJ Callahan, the coach, will join us coming up next.
Hey guys, it's Lucas. If you're looking for the best place in Nashville to catch the U.S. men's national team action this summer or Nashville Soccer Club games, look no further than Fog Street Lawn Club with British-style lawn bowling, authentic pub fare, and a match day atmosphere that is second to none. It's the perfect spot for soccer fans to come together and really a great space to watch any games. And I'll be there on Thursday watching the U.S. men's national team take on Saudi Arabia in the Gold Cup Thursday night. Come hang out. We'll have giveaways, exclusive merch, and your chance to win match tickets. Can also watch the NBA Finals. Plenty of TVs, always something to do, and the food and drink selection is fantastic. If you can't make it Thursday, no worries. I'll be back again on Sunday, June 22nd for more match day fun. So grab your friends, wear your red, white, and blue, and make Fog Street Lawn Club your home base for every big moment. I will see you at Fog Street Lawn Club on Thursday.
Welcome back to the show, fueled by Hattie B's Hot Chicken, the best hot chicken in the world. Lunch hour officially upon us. Think about ordering Hattie B's for your next meal. Mobile app can get it done for you. BJ Callahan, coach of Nashville SC, is kind enough. Is this the first time he's been on the radio show? BJ, this is the first time.
BJ's been on. You just haven't been here.
What do you mean? You are conducting interviews without me here?
Feel like I've done half the damn show this year without you in here. It's been lovely.
I'm so sorry. Why else are you here if not to do exactly that?
Welcome to our wonderful, safe, not hostile environment, BJ.
Used to it. Thanks for having me.
Well, we're happy to have you, and we're happy that the soccer team is so damn good because I have been, my position, obviously not speaking for anybody else, but I have been miserable because the state of Nashville sports has been really, really bad here in the last couple of years. And you guys are carrying the mantle in ways that I so appreciate. 11 unbeaten results right now for Nashville SC. What has been, I know there's no one thing in coming in the middle of last season and starting to acclimate and get players and staff in the building and the organization to a point where you knew they could compete at this level. But what has been the common thread for you since you arrived?
Yeah, I mean, I think since I arrived, it's just been a really clear vision from the top to the bottom of the organization and all the way through. So there was this idea that we wanted to create Nashville 2.0 that came from John Ingram, our owner, and kind of has been structured and sort of that vision has been laid out all the way through the club. And I think when everyone is aligned behind that vision, you really start to get a level of belief. And right now, I think we have, from our academy to our second team, right into our first team, you got a true level of belief that we can accomplish special things here at Nashville. And through the halfway point, I think we're all pleased with where we're at.
BJ, what would you say you've enjoyed the most about working with this particular group and some of the new parts and pieces and personalities you guys added in the offseason?
Well, I think the first part is that how quickly they've come together as a team. And that's sort of what we're all about, right? Is we want to make our teammates shine. So there's a level of selflessness within our first team players and staff. And I think that's what sort of when your foundation and your anchor is that, you can sort of become, let's say, a much stronger sum of parts than maybe just 11 individuals that play or 20 that make the roster, and everyone feels like they're contributing. So for me, it's just really about how this team has come together so quickly as a team, and everyone is willing and wanting to do their role.
There's not a duo in Major League Soccer that's been more productive in terms of goal contributions this year than Sam Surridge and Hani Mukhtar. 20 goals combined, talking about 10 assists, obviously, both of them on the score sheet in that win over Chicago on Saturday. What has enabled them to really break out from a production standpoint, and how much of that is rooted in you guys just hammering some of the principles that you've really implemented and gotten a chance to implement more and more with this first full season that you've had at the helm?
Yeah, I think for us, it starts with having a really clear idea of how we want to play as a team, and having those principles, just like you mentioned, Lucas. And then it's the consistency. It's the consistency of how we want to play, how we want to train, how we want to teach it. And with that consistency, I think brings out multiple opportunities in a match to create good goal scoring chances. And we know with those two guys, if we were able to get them into good goal scoring chances on a regular basis, they're going to finish more than they don't. So I think that, and you have a really strong supporting cast that they're sort of the final piece right now that's ending the plays with goals. But as we know in soccer, it's going to take the whole group to get the ball from one end to the other. And we have a great, again, I keep using the word team, a great team that's willing to do their role. Thankfully we have two guys up top that are finishing it off.
Nashville SC coach BJ Callahan is our guest here on 104.5 The Zone. 11 unbeaten results for Nashville, a club record. Very exciting. The state of MLS just generally, BJ, I mean, how much better has the league and American soccer that way been able to elevate as a whole, beyond just you guys, obviously?
Yeah, I mean, we know that we're a piece in sort of this sort of global game. And I think MLS has now become a real, I would say, recognizable figure in the global game. And it's a league that, of course, is still growing. But what used to be a league that players would come into, now I think you see it as a league that high-level players are coming in from abroad. But at the same time, we're also exporting a real high-level amount of players. And when you can do that, for me, that's a really strong, healthy ecosystem. And so for us, we're happy to play our role in that, continuing to grow the league, continuing to get more eyeballs on us, to continue to get more fans in Geodis Park, and that's our objective. And we know building in, you have the Club World Cup here now, this week actually, I think, coming in Nashville, but then additionally you have the 2026 World Cup, which I think is just going to be the largest sporting event ever in the world is coming to America, and I think it's going to be gasoline on what I think is already sort of a fire, which is soccer in America.
I respectfully to Kansas City, I'm still so salty that they're a host site and we're not. I can't believe that a place with that crappy of an airport is going to host is going to be a World Cup host site. I know they're getting a new airport, but still.
Well, that is one thing that makes Major League Soccer so unique, BJ, right? In terms of comparing it to other American sports leagues, where players are not shy. Players that are here in Nashville have not been shy about their ambitions to go to Europe. What's it like building out a team, knowing that many players have that mentality and still kind of pulling on the same rope to get to the same objective, knowing that for a lot of players, the ultimate goal for them is to be playing in England or in Spain or wherever? And how do you go about that while simultaneously supporting them in their long-term goals?
I would say, again, first and foremost, starts with the philosophy of the club, which is we want to be a club that is a caretaker of guys' dreams. So if a player's dream is to play at a major club in this world, and Nashville's going to be a stop, we're going to work as hard as we can to develop them, get as most out of them while they're here in Nashville, and then if the opportunity presents, move on. But secondly, I think for us, it's a great opportunity to show that individual success comes when a team is successful. And, so how you get them pulled in the direction is if you're a winning team and you're a successful team, more eyeballs are on you, and individual accolades come secondary to that. And that's something that we preach each and every day in our environment.
Finally, BJ, Club World Cup is here. It's already started on U.S. soil. As you mentioned, Geodis Park will be hosting a few games. And you and I talked about this a little bit Friday, but you're going to hop over to the media side a little bit here in the upcoming weeks.
One of us.
Right. Are you looking forward to it? How did that kind of come about? And what exactly are you going to be doing this month?
Yeah, so actually I started last night. And quickly how it came about is a guy that I've known for a while in the business named Shaw Brown, a top producer of sports soccer in America, reached out. And so from there, it was, certainly a little hesitance, certainly something that I haven't done, maybe outside my comfort zone, joining over to the dark side. But
come on, hang out with us vultures, baby.
Water's fine.
Water's fine over here, BJ.
But I think it's a great opportunity for me to see another side of the business, and sort of also we talk about growing and sort of putting yourself out there and being a little bit vulnerable and uncomfortable to grow and become a better person and a better professional. I think it's a good spot for me to try and do that. But yeah, it was funny because I don't typically watch soccer with the audio on. Especially if it's Nashville games or something, something like that. But now last night I was listening and part of the audio, so it was definitely a different feeling.
Well, we subject the other Brian Callahan to these interviews all the time, but we are very glad that you made some time for us. Again, congratulations on the success. I know you still have to work to achieve your ultimate goal here, but it's been a real pleasure to watch, BJ, and we're excited to have you in town and looking forward to continue to see what you and the club keep doing.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Thanks for the support always, and look forward to trying to bring a big winner here to Nashville.
That's BJ Callahan.
Thanks, BJ.
Nashville SC's coach, hanging out there with us on 104.5 The Zone. When you were a stowaway on the Nashville SC team plane, is that when you were berating him with your various questions that you made a reference to? Also, that should be a fine.
What? That we spoke on Friday?
Yes.
Just referencing our conversation Friday?
Yeah.
No, it was just part of our weekly production meeting ahead of the game against Chicago, which they won 2-0. By the way, something that BJ has, rightfully deflected from, that Chicago game, a matchup of B.J. Callahan, former U.S. men's national team assistant, and Greg Berhalter, former U.S. men's national team coach, very close friend and former colleague of B.J. Callahan's. I'm just going to say that's 2 games of B.J. versus former boss and close friend Greg. One was 7-2 in favor of Nashville. 1-0 in favor of Nashville.
It's like the reverse Nick Saban.
Yeah. How about that?
I don't know. How about that? Read something.
Join me. That's a fine.
Find him right now.
Yeah, it's at the top of the page.
Oh my God.
I'll take that fine. Join me, Lucas Panzica, this Thursday and Sunday.
Another one. If that was me, the segment would just be that sound.
Join me at Fog Street Lawn Club to gear up for the U.S. men's national team kickoff Thursday and Sunday. Gold Cup matches. It is Nashville's best soccer destination. British-style lawn bowling upstairs, the best rooftop view in Nashville, authentic pub fare, and a match day atmosphere that's perfect for fans. So grab your friends, wear your red, white, and blue, and make Fog Street Lawn Club your home base for every big moment. I will see you guys at Fog Street Lawn Club Thursday. Watch some NBA Finals as well. So come hang out.
It's a lovely rooftop.
It is. That view is pretty unmatched.
Are we playing Creed under the ad spots now?
I'm into that.
You
it made me think I was supposed to go to break.
No, you see, earlier in the show, you tried to turn Lucas and I against each other, and then you just did it to me against him again.
I'm sorry. He's the one who said that your stomach sticks out as much as his ass does. That was not me.
It's debatable, but I think that was a situation that you put him in. So after I realized you made me turn on my good buddy Lucas, I was like, I got to do right by Lucas.
Oh, thank you. So the Creed was
sounds.
The wind at my sails. The wind at my sails during that read. Hopefully that can be the win behind the U.S. men's national team.
I want to drop. Join me.
Join me.
It's me.
Me.
Come hang out with me. It's like Angel Reese. Did we ever use that me bounds instead of rebounds clip?
We haven't yet. But dumbest thing in sports is tomorrow for all of you that thought it was
called
today.
in today.
Yeah.
John in Murfreesboro. Anyway.
When are you going to get out to Geodis?
Me?
Need you guys to get out there this season. Yeah. It's been rocking.
I mean, this is my 6 weeks break without practice, so this would be an ideal time for me to catch a soccer game. I don't know, when is it going to stop raining?
Yeah.
Respectfully, I'm not.
July 5th, the next home game.
I'm not cut out for the elements. If you're going to get me to a sporting event that I'm not going to get parking and food and all these different things for, that it's got to be a nice day.
If you're not, I feel like I should find you. If you're not going to airdrop me.
If you're not going to cater to every, that's fine. I'll eat that fine. I will pay that fine for my parking, for my food. I mean, come on. Like, you guys haven't experienced this at some point in your professional careers now. You go to a sporting event that you're not being catered to, and you're like, this sucks. Why did I ever do this before?
Because I'm a fan.
Yeah.
And I enjoy the game.
Gross.
I
cannot relate to what
Don't
you're
need
saying.
free hot dogs to enjoy the game.
Hot dogs?
Yeah. Like, buddy, you spend every Sunday at Nissan Stadium with cold scrambled eggs and hot dogs. Quit acting like you're getting 5-star meals every game day.
No, I texted our buddy Nick Bishop, and I got a custom ordered Hattie B's that I walked down to the concourse and picked up, so I didn't have to eat
you
their
did that
terrible
one
press
time.
box food. Anyway, 6, and it is vastly superior basically everywhere else. Cleveland sucks. Chicago sucks. Their press box food, but we're not doing reviews today. Anyway, I don't have another topic to pivot to here. What do you want to talk about? All it says in my grid is B.J. Callahan. I have nowhere to go.
I was going to
Stanley Cup. We want to do some hockey.
Yeah, do that.
Stanley Cup tonight. Florida Panthers looking to make it back-to-back against the Oilers.
Okay, now what?
That concludes our Stanley Cup analysis for today. What did you have?
I had the bleeped bird video audio.
Okay, let's hear that.
Hold on now. I think we have to reset for the people that are just joining us.
Oh.
If you haven't yet, or you weren't listening during Oh No, a bird flew into my house, and I had to get it out. I was very brave. I did it without any kind of non-manly movements or screams. And if you missed it, you can go check it out on my Twitter. I tweeted the video because we hit our threshold of likes on the YouTube.
That's why he wanted to reset.
Robbie_Walsh on Twitter. I'm trying to get that @Burt tag. But
Find yourself.
No, I'm not going to. I'm the one that clicks the button.
This is self-promotion.
I'm not finding anybody.
It's
Robbie,
the worst kind of self-promotion.
ROBBY_WALSH. I need more follows. Give me all that clout. Buck has like 9,100 followers. Like, just give me a piece of that.
No.
Anyway, this is what it sounded like when a bird flew into my house.
Go up. Go up.
Fly.
Go up.
Get out.
Come on. No, come here.
Oh my God! You don't live here, dog. No, there he goes. There he goes. He's all over the place.
What you don't see is Cheyenne holding up a window screen as a shield as this bird pinballs off the walls of Robert's bathroom. You also don't see, while that screaming is happening, Robert has locked her in the bathroom with the loose bird.
This is a sadness that she chose on two parts. One, I tried to come in there with a towel to grab the bird. She wouldn't allow me to do that because she thought I was going to hurt it. And two, when we got the screen out of the window, I tried to grab the screen from her, and she's like, no, I did all the hard stuff. Let me do this. So she wanted to help the bird get out of there, which caused a whole bunch of this. I love her screams there.
Who sounded more scared in that moment? Cheyenne scared. I don't know. Robert.
No, it's the woman screaming in the background. It's not Robert half giggling and making noise to antagonize the bird further to bother Cheyenne.
You can't really hear it because of the bleep, but the unedited version, which he posted on his Twitter account, you can hear the fear in his bleep.
You can see it as I'm pressed up against the bathroom
door. Yeah, because
door.
you shut Cheyenne in the bathroom.
I didn't want that bird in the bedroom. That is the master bath. If that bird gets out of there, there's a ledge in the bedroom.
It's the saddest master bathroom I've ever seen in my life.
Come on.
How many raw sweet potatoes have you eaten in that master bathroom?
Oh, I don't know, but I pushed a few out.
Oh, got a break.
Oh.
Was that an eagle in your home? Did you ever discern the genus since we were zebra hunting last week and bird watching this week? Have either of you, well, you're not 30 yet, Lucas, but once you turn 30, you start to get into feeding birds. I think that's something that happens.
It was a gray catbird.
A gray catbird?
You know this?
That's not real.
I looked it up. It is real.
Actually?
Yes.
You sure it wasn't a mockingbird?
I'm sure it wasn't a mockingbird.
State bird of the state of Tennessee?
I'm absolutely positive it was not a mockingbird.
Birds are cool.
Did you look this bird up? Can we confirm? Do we have visuals?
Look up a gray catbird. Look it up. You look it up because I did the legwork. Oh, okay. Maybe we should listen to the guy.
It is a medium-sized North American and Central American perching bird of the mimid family.
Oh, it was perched. I think we should listen to the guy who has a bird-watching feeder in his backyard that identifies birds for you.
Oh, you have one of those ones with the camera on it?
Yes.
Oh, see, that's next level. See, I thought I had to wait until I turned 40 to do that.
I thought it was a red-breasted nuthatch at first, but then I did not notice the
You just like that name.
Don't do that to me. Don't do that. Don't try to make me out to be a bad guy because I have evidence.
You were literally talking about Lainey Wilson's tush while we were trying not to disrespect her current husband.
I want you to know.
I shouldn't say current husband, should I?
Just husband.
That feels a bit callous. You seen that TikTok trend where they're talking about current girlfriends like it's a guy doing a TikTok and he's talking about, I'm here with my current girlfriend. Bad idea. Don't do that. 615-737-1045 is the number. Last call for phone calls if you got them. As we wrap up today, the one thing that we didn't get to that we're going to talk about tomorrow is under the radar Titans veterans. And I don't know what really classifies. Like, let's set some parameters for tomorrow's segment when we do this, because I'm not sure what does under the radar qualify as, because you tried to give me Tyler Lockett, and Tyler Lockett's like the second most famous person on this team.
Yeah, I mean, I guess Van Jefferson would be a more under the radar signing than Tyler Lockett.
So why did Tyler Lockett come into your mind as under the radar? Because I'm gonna remove that option from you today.
I mean, why are you asking me?
Because that was your suggestion.
You tweeted the poll. You wrote it in your Twitter account.
So what did the poll say from my Twitter account yesterday about the Cam Ward doc?
Accountability, not a strength with this
it's
one.
Literally accountability in that poll, because you said, are you a jealous hater like me? That's accountability.
Yes. And most people said they don't care that Cam Ward is doing a documentary, or there is a documentary being done about Cam Ward. I know that you're not in favor of players telling their story and getting any. I know it's a very shut up and dribble vibe with you. Yeah. I get that.
Famously, I did tell Darius Leonard that one time on Twitter, and then I got in trouble for that.
Something else you may have told someone. An interview you did.
Me?
Yes. Came across my desk. And this is pretty damning.
All right.
Hey, Buck, you got any big plans for this weekend?
Yeah. The Cam Ward highlights in the aisles of Trader Joe's.
You were there?
I was there. Yeah. That's concerning.
That interview, that audio was not
You can't say masturbating on the radio?
I was scared. I was absolutely terrified to play this.
Well, so what he's referencing.
Well, you just did it, so now you're in trouble for it. But
it's just an act. It's not like I don't know. I guess it's a lewd act, but this is internet on the radio, which we try to avoid. But there are many Titans fans in the mentions on social media of these Cam Ward highlights, and they keep talking about going to Trader Joe's. Are you familiar with the Trader Joe's incident?
No, I've avoided trying to figure out what it's all about.
But you got Kyle Brandt on Good Morning Football tweeting about the Trader Joe's thing, okay? So it's like it's now enough out there that people are paying attention to the fact that Titans fans are legitimately horny for Cam Ward highlights. So Robert asked me about this last night, and I had to explain it to him, and I guess it's a riff off this dude that got caught in a Trader Joe's parking lot in January of 24, pleasuring himself. And so now that's what the Titans fan base is saying that they're doing to Cam Ward highlights, which is concerning for a great many reasons. So I'm sure they'll handle that Cam Ward docuseries on Tubi just fine.
What does that have to do with Cam Ward highlights, this incident that happened at Trader Joe's?
Oh, they're just saying that they're pleasuring themselves to Cam Ward
highlights. Right, but I don't understand what.
They're saying that guy was doing that.
Yes, they are saying.
But was he?
No.
And we have no idea. Did you want me to interview him?
I didn't dive into why they're,
It sounds like you've done a lot of research on this.
I simply looked up the article on WSMV. That's about as far as I got, and I was concerned. That's a Titans fan base for you. Polls?
I think they have those.
Really shoehorned that one in there, did you?
I had to click the button.
Presented by Two Rivers Ford, the South's most trusted Ford dealer. What in sports made you say, oh no, this weekend? Det says Titan social media team for the Father's Day gaffe post. Corey says anytime someone was hitting out of the rough at Oakmont, Cam said same thing. Just about every shot out of the rough at Oakmont.
I honestly enjoyed the U.S. Open this year. I know the golfers struggled, and it was not easy for J.J. Spawn, who ended up winning the thing, but it's just, I don't know. It's a more eventful major than I think just about any out there that's not named the Masters.
Who's the most interesting player in the AFC South in 2025? Karen says Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb, the running back, who is now a Houston Texan.
I forgot about him.
Chad says Travis Hunter.
Is that like the Julio Jones in a Titans uniform for them?
Yeah, I mean, I guess so. Younger than Julio, but yeah, those injuries, man.
Joe Mixon is still a good running back. What do they need?
They've got a crowded running back room. They just drafted one, too.
Corpse of Nick Chubb for.
Cam says, bias aside, Cam Ward, which I love. And many saying Cam Ward.
Tyler Dial pointing out some people watch Cam Ward highlights when they're at a Trader Joe's. Some people watch their own soccer commentary calls.
If you know, you know. What is Vandy's ceiling in 2025? 6 wins? There it is. 7 wins.
Lucas in the parking lot of a Trader Joe's watching Cam Ward highlights.
8. The U.S. men's national team did not give me an opportunity to use that word the other day.
Sounded like him driving by. Like
he's moving. so he's keeping the car moving so that he doesn't get caught.
I think that's also a crime.
Yes, I would assume. That
driving while handling is against the law.
I don't know if there's anything in the letter of the law.
Not exactly. A drive-by. Is it a jerk-by?
Oh, no, come on. Okay, that's enough.
What is Vandy's ceiling in 2025? 32% say 6 wins. 32% say 7 wins. 27.3% say 8 wins.
This is Vandy's ceiling, you said?
Vandy's ceiling. Only 8.7% say 9 or more.
Yeah, I mean, 9 would be a coup for Vanderbilt. Are you kidding me? We would throw them a parade. We would tear down the goalposts again and march them into the river.
Yeah, 9 wins, period, much less 9 wins in the regular season.
Yeah.
Would feel like a monumental achievement. I mean, remember, Vanderbilt.
How did you say monumental?
Monumental achievement.
Monumental?
Monumental.
Come on.
Titans fans are hitting the ceiling in Trader Joe's.
Who's got to clean that up?
Who is the under-the-radar Titans vet signing that will have the biggest impact in 2025? Large majority voting Cody Barton, over 60%.
Yeah, we'll do that tomorrow. There's a discussion to be had there because I do think that there's some under-the-radar ones, but I don't think it's the ones that you're probably thinking of.
Those are the polls.
Very good. That is going to do it for us today. We appreciate you guys hanging out. It was a fun show. Louis Riddick in the first hour. Nashville SC coach PJ Callahan. Don't call him Brian in the second. Check it out via the podcast. See you tomorrow. When the 2020 tornado hit, I and many of my neighbors in North Nashville and Germantown were without power for 6 days. And if you're somebody who's working remotely from home or has just been affected by the adverse weather conditions that we've had in every season here in Middle Tennessee, you know that there's no need to compromise with Mother Nature anymore. Consider owning a home generator from Premier Generators. It could be the smartest investment you can make. Let the experts at Premier Generators help you out. They know that